Hello and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast covering my all-time favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander.
And I'm your co-host, Courtney Autumn.
Together, we've been journeying through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, patrolling the streets of Sunnydale, but now our path expands beyond the Hellmouth as we continue to follow Buffy's battles and growth.
We also step into the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to join Angel on his quest for redemption and his fight to discover what it truly means to be a champion.
Venture with us through every episode in order as we experience the story from two perspectives, Courtney's first time watch and my seasoned rewatch, doubling down on the themes and moments that shape the Buffyverse.
We'll examine pivotal choices, major story arcs, and explore the deeper layers of each show's continued character growth and development.
All while engaging in conversations and sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, ready your swords,
and continue to stand with us against the forces of darkness as we journey through the supernatural worlds of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
and Angel.
Let's get into this episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 4 of Revamped. Did y'all miss us? They missed us. They know they did. They're all saying yes.
Probably not.
They're saying yes right now. I know at least a good 5 of them are.
That's it.
My mom, your mom, Buffy dude, Robbie, this is Stacy. I'll keep on naming out people. I'm just kidding. I know you guys are excited. Courtney, don't let Courtney influence you guys. Okay, let me. Yes, exactly. We're just gonna have a shout out at the beginning of this. This is the season 4 wrap up preamp too. Nah.
Elon.
All right, mate. Did you enjoy your podcast break?
I did.
I don't think they all did. I think they were like, all right, hurry up and come back. When's March 13th?
Like, hurry up. When is March?
Oh, that's another point that I did not put down. Like, happy Friday the 13th, everybody, because this episode airs on Friday the 13th. So, yeah.
So does mine.
Oh, that's crazy. We're in sync, mate. Your season 4, my season 4, our season 4, technically. I love how I just try to claim the show as mine, but... Most of it. A good 75%.
Same thing.
Same thing. I'm so excited to be here, though. Honestly, I'm just as pumped, even though I was just talking 2 seconds before coming in here about how I was lazy and didn't want to do this. Like,
Same.
You know, when we were getting ready to watch the episode together, because we watched this and Insidious back to back as a little double feature. And, you know, I was talking to you beforehand. I was like, I'm so excited to watch the episode later. And then I was pumped while we were watching it. We both got really stimulated by it in all the best ways, you know, thrust into and or whatever that shit is Willow says in a little bit that we'll laugh at. We were wilding out whenever we watched that episode, like in certain parts of it, especially Angel too. I don't know, we was doubling down on some crazy shit. Should have been recording us watching that. That would have been a good live reacts video, honestly.
That's true.
Yeah, I know I asked you, but like I've low-key been enjoying break a bit too much. I will say, obviously, with me saying like I was like, no, do we have to come back? But we do. I feel like I've been hardcore working on episodes though. Like, you know, you're still doing all the things behind the scenes that everybody can't see, and slow paced, if anything, which is my best way. You know, as a Taurus, I like to do things slowly and have a practical schedule. Not as bad as like a Virgo. I don't have to have a checklist or anything, but you know, it's been nice not having to edit, I feel like, more than anything, and not have to post as much on social media. So I have had breaks in a way. So my mental health has been cleansed and cleared, and hopefully ready for this next part of the journey, because this is going to be a very long stretch.
Yeah.
But, you know, all right, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in. Today we are covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Season 4, Episode 1.
The Freshman.
Aired October 5th, 1999.
Written and directed by Joss Whedon.
As usual.
That's what we'll be doing every time we say his name from now on. All right. In this season opener, college life quickly overwhelms Buffy as she navigates unfamiliar territory, fractured friendships, and a loss of confidence. When a string of student disappearances points to a gang of vampires lurking near UC Sunnydale, Buffy is forced to confront the unsettling possibility that she may no longer be the most powerful force around. Dun dun dun, as usual.
Crazy.
I love how she's like doubting herself, and then like I wrote that in here as like the most powerful force around. I'm like, she still very much is, but she doesn't believe in herself at all this episode. It's the whole thing.
No, not at all.
Guest stars this episode. I have a little bit of a stretch of stuff to say throughout right here for two of the characters. First off, we have Pedro Pascal playing Eddie this episode. That was so fun to ask you while we were watching. I'm like, do you recognize who that is? And you're like, no, not really. And I'm like, well, it's because he's 25 years younger and looks like a baby. And this was his basically first role ever. Not really, but basically. I don't know. I didn't fact check that part. But, you know, obviously, Pedro Pascal is best known for his roles in The Mandalorian, The Last of Us, portraying Joel Miller, which I love so much. Fun fact for me, because my favorite video game ever is The Last of Us. Both parts. He appeared in Narcos, Game of Thrones, amongst other shows. He was the villain in DC's Wonder Woman 1984 and currently portrays Reed Richards in the MCU's Fantastic Four storyline, which I love that they have a whole, I don't feel like there's been like 8 fucking movies, really 3 with different characters from the Fantastic Four. Did you see him dancing in the halftime show the other day below with Cardi B and Jessica Alba, which fun.
Yes.
Jessica Alba was the Invisible Girl in the opposite version of the Fantastic Four movies that he wasn't a part of, the original ones.
Oh, wow, that's true.
Or Sony or whatever it used to be back in the day. I thought that was cute, but he's up there with actors that I really enjoy. Like these days, it took him a while to really I feel like come into his own. But I remember that there was an interview that circulated maybe like a year and a half ago or so, where Pedro recalled that he was almost forced to give up acting because he was doing this little interview on the red carpet, and he was saying that like before he became mainstream, he was unable to pay his rent and he had like $7 in his bank account, and he noted that he was in a really shitty spot, and then he received a well-timed residual check from this episode of Buffy, and whenever it showed up, he basically claimed that saved the day and commented that Buffy the Vampire Slayer is literally the reason that he was able to stay in Hollywood and not give up and basically be in all the things that we've now witnessed him in.
Oh, wow.
Right? That was crazy. Sarah Michelle Gellar also posted a photo of them recently from their scene in the courtyard or whatever you want to call it on campus, and captioned it "When Mother Met Father," because there was this whole trend of mostly the gays being like, "Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar is mother," like that's what they were doing. But they were also getting really hot and heavy over Pedro Pascal the last few years, so everybody was calling him daddy and shit like that, because you know those memes that of him dancing and stuff, like there was a few little TikToks going around. So like she posted "When Mother Met Father" of the two of them, and I was like, oh, that's cute, and I was like, okay, makes sense. But he got all excited in that same interview and was saying like, I'm surprised she even still knew who I was, and noted that he remembers every moment of shooting the episode, and as brief as it was that he had with Sarah on screen, she was like a very kind scene partner, and how they had the best time. And he remembered that she had ice cream in her trailer. I was like, oh, she must be friends with Willow, duh. But he's like, she gave me some. And then he recalled that it was a night shoot, obviously, and in the middle of the night when they were on UCLA campus, they hadn't built any of the college sets yet, and he remembers like everything that was going on. And he said like he could go on and on and on like I am right now, but he's like, I could give you every detail. But overall, Sarah Michelle Gellar was incredibly kind to him. She taught me how to use a sandbag to hit my mark, and she was just the best. And then moments later, like Sarah Michelle Gellar posted after she saw his little interview, captioning back to him in reply of like, how could I forget you, is basically what she said. Like, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute of her to like, I don't know, respond that way. Yeah. And like reach back out to him. So that's the little stuff I wanted to say about Pedro Pascal, because I remember seeing that in the last couple of years. And I was like, oh, like I'll never get to tell anybody this information. Here we are. Except sharing it on like social media and talking about it then. And then we have Catherine Town as Sunday. Now, I have never seen anything that this bitch has been in, because like I looked at her little Wikipedia page and stuff, and I was like, okay, I know nothing that I could listen and be like, oh, I've seen that. No. But most famously, I remember her from her character in the 1999 film She's All That. Of course, also starring Sarah Michelle Gellar's husband, you know, Freddie Prinze Jr., Freddie Cheese Jr., or whatever that fucking meme was back in the day. You remember that? It also features Sarah Michelle Gellar in the cafeteria scene. But point being, I want to bring it up because her role is super small in the movie. And I don't know if you remember it. I know you've seen She's All That. But she portrayed a woman named Savannah, or a high school student, alongside Clea Duvall, who played a character named Misty. And they were the two art class students sharing the scene with Lainey Boggs in the beginning of the movie. And they come up to her and are commenting about her artwork is like all dark and shit. And then they blatantly look at her and be like, we think it would be really cool if you like killed yourself. It's the whole thing. I'm gonna send you the clip later so that you can be like, oh shit. But I thought it was really funny to like see how we got this weird like how small the world really is when it comes to media, how it's not really small, because Clea Duvall is who played Marcy in Out of Mind, Out of Sight in season 1. And she's in that scene with this character who plays Sunday on Buffy later on down the road. So these are two Buffy alumni characters that were for one-off episodes that ended up kind of around this time frame doing She's All That. You know what I mean? Somewhere in this spectrum of time. So I thought that was really cool to like.
So interesting.
I know, but I was also like, this is a bitch of a fucking character. Like, she was a bitch over and She's All That. And now she's a fucking bitch over here on this first episode of Buffy.
You know, some people are just so good at that. And I almost feel bad for them because I feel like you hear about them in their like personal life. And when they're like on the red carpet or they're like having to interact with like people who are interviewing them, people always assume that that's actually how they are. Like they're an asshole in real life, you know? And they're like, no, I swear. And they're usually probably like the sweetest people.
Literally. Or they say,
but you'd never imagine Sunday that way because she was definitely, I think, the biggest asshole we've seen so far.
Yeah, one of them. For real.
Maybe close to Angelus.
She was given Cordelia as a vampire.
Yes.
The filter's gone. Well, the filter's more so gone because Cordelia already doesn't have any. The rest of these people, a couple of them I'm going to talk about in the future, but the rest of them I just kind of like listed out quick. We have Mark Blucas as Riley Finn, Dagny Kerr as Kathy Newman, Lindsay Krause as Professor Maggie Walsh, Fina Arush, I think that's how you say her name, as Olivia Williams. And then I didn't list all the other guest roles of Sunday's gang and people like that. I'm so sorry, y'all, but also I don't care about them. They all die, so yeah, whatever. Obviously, this is a really good season opener. We get to see Buffy out of her element once more and immersed into this new world. It's a whole new spectrum of like identity and character development for our people going in. I mention it later, but one thing I found I really appreciated around this watch was noticing how the episode really makes you feel like you're also attending college alongside Buffy, because all the classic college things are there before us, like all the tropes and the subversions of like atmosphere are presented to us, whether that be like the chaos going on outside, the fucking pep rallies and the different events that are supposed to be like advocating something or fighting for like rights or protesting. That's more of a bigger thing. I mean, maybe not nowadays because that's like kind of all expansive to everybody, but back in the day you saw that really more so when you got in college, because you had a more of an adult mindset. You weren't like living through your parents anymore, and they were the ones that usually had the voice in the household for like patriotism or whatever it may be, like, you know what I mean?
And I think when you're older too, you have more people involved and interested, whereas like in high school those things could have not really like the protesting as much, but of course there were like student bodies and stuff for a reason, and that was to like hear everyone out and see how we can make the school better for everyone and blah blah blah. And so I think like in college they just make it a little bit more like almost like in a political atmosphere, you know, like that's how I feel when I watched it. It was like very politically themed almost.
Yeah, and it goes outside of the spectrum of like just that one little niche group of students in high school that have the collective mind to utilize that small group and identity. Like now it's like little pools everywhere of these different type of people, this immersion of everybody like kind of collectively saying, hey, we're here to like just like live and figure out what's going on next, attend class, do this, like have parties and let loose in a way, because now we're all like entering. Some of us are seasoned within the college atmosphere, but some of us are just starting out too. So you got this weird mix of overall energy. I never got to experience this the same way, because when I attended college, it was for cosmetology school at first, even though it was at a college institute and stuff. Like it was a different atmosphere for me. And then even going back to college, I just went for massage therapy, so I was focused on one group. It wasn't like I had different classes and electives to have to take for course study to create those core elements and stuff. You know what I mean? Where you're mixing away like all kinds of people, or you're trying to like,
you don't have like
living on campus somewhere else. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing also I really liked about this episode though is how our first monster like thing that we're dealing with is something as simple as our run-of-the-mill gang of vampires. They could have chosen any kind of demonic energy, or maybe not even that, to be the issue. It could have been something more humane, like, or not humane, but more human-like, like we faced with in the past. It could have been more of like really focused on Buffy and her self-identity and her like losing herself within this episode. But no, she's got to fucking still fight vampires because she's the Slayer. Super classic. I didn't realize too much to how many new people are introduced to us along watching the episode, because I was watching it obviously with you, and I'm sitting there being like, oh, we're about to meet such and such, I forgot, or we're about to meet this person. I'm like, oh damn, this. And we watched Angel and we're meeting all these other new characters too. Like you have to kind of play catch up, because we're not just dealing with the seasoned characters that we brought from previous
Right.
seasons with us, and we have to fill in blanks for other characters that aren't there anymore because we don't have Cordelia, we don't have Angel the same way. We lose Giles in a certain sense because he's
Mhm.
off on his own now. He's not really tied into the school
Doesn't have the
atmosphere or
same
Buffy's
role.
atmosphere
Yeah.
anymore, which we see later in the episode. So that was kind of cool. I don't feel like we lost anything on the humor. Like, even though the episode has a little bit of a I would say subtle serious tone with what's going on, and then the pressure that Buffy's feeling.
No, it was so funny
It,
in some
right? It
parts.
has like a handful of fun quips and quotes and like
A lot,
what I
yeah.
would say is more adult-like humor, but with what it references
sure.
in the episode too. So you can tell they're already pushing past that spectrum that we've been in the past.
Mhm.
And like, speaking of just like past two rewatches of the past that I've done, I feel like I was always really excited to kick off season 4 because the first handful of episodes that we get are genius and they carry a very unique energy that we won't really ever see again past this chunk. They continue to get good, but like, I feel like the first 4 episodes are always just my favorite because they run this like special energy of trying to figure out what's new, and then they kind of get their footing type thing. I think is the best maybe way to say that. And then honestly, like I was kind of saying in the beginning with our guest stars, this episode starts to feature in the season like amazing stars that we will see grow into, greater actors in the future and be like more portray themselves differently in more movies or have like more mainstream effect in the later like days. Last thing I guess I really want to say is like I really enjoy watching Buffy figure her shit out and gain her footing because it's kind of similar to the season 3 opener Anne, where she feels a bit lost, just like in a different way this time, and it really mirrors how we as people start something new, especially a new school or era of our life, and really don't know how to get a handle on things, our environment, or like gain our footing. And it's troubling for some versus some people, like as we see in this episode, they just kind of fall into it so easily and effortlessly because it's comfortable for them to like immerse themselves in something new, especially in the field of study. Willow. But in the past, we've seen Buffy and like killed by death and helpless be more vulnerable, and this time she's just as vulnerable and susceptible. But back then it was more because of a bodily issue, whether that be the flu or Giles shooting her up with drugs. But this time her weakness comes from her mental state and her lack of security within herself. When she starts to doubt herself, she therefore then can't really navigate her journey and her new position, and then she also can't really seem to do her Slayer duty anymore because this like it's kind of clouding her
Mhm.
judgment and herself. And
Yeah, she just feels totally defeated.
yeah, and that's something we haven't seen. So those are some components that I felt would be worth mentioning. Obviously, I want to know how you feel coming into season 4 specifically, and then also
Mm.
like how did you feel about intake in the freshman?
Well, this was just so much more fun than I expected in a way. I knew there would be a sense of adjustment. I didn't think that the greatest sense of adjustment would be for Buffy because we usually see her kind of adapt a little bit better than she seemed to have. But it was an interesting kind of plot twist in a way because like you were saying in season 3 when we were at the in the Anne episode, it was the same kind of feeling, and I'm starting to realize that when she's pulled out of her normal atmosphere, and I think this probably happens to a lot of us, is when we're like anywhere other than our comfort space or zone even, it feels unsettling. So that way when normal things even happen or even minor inconveniences or the whole day goes wrong or whatever, all of that can just feel so much more like compounded,
Mhm.
and I feel like you really get a visual display of that when it comes to this episode because you can see that she's just not, like you said, she's not getting her footing in the beginning and she's just not really able to adjust. And then she's watching everyone else adjust really well. And that makes her not being able to adjust even worse. So it's just any little thing makes it worse and makes it more heightened of a sense of vulnerability, it seems, for her. So, and what was interesting is to see what caused the shift back into her regular self that we see her as. So that was interesting to see. But yeah, overall I love this episode so much. I think it's like one of my favorite openings so far that we have gotten for. I know there's only been 3 others, but I do really enjoy this for like a season starter basically because like you said there's some serious tones and overall it has like a sense of seriousness, but we don't lose the humor and we don't lose like the aspect of everyone's kind of personality that's funny and the little jokes that get exchanged. So that made what could have been a really kind of like downer of an episode be very middle of the road as far as like emotionally pulling is concerned. But it was fun. It was fun to watch, and I enjoy like the new scenery, and I like you said, that there's more adult jokes, and they're pushing the envelope in that way more. And yeah, it just has a more mature sense, and it still seems really fun and action packed and all the things that we love about Buffy, but just in a new scenery with some revisits to what we're used to, because I like that she kind of went home in a desperate hour, and I
Yeah.
think that's something we would all do. Like, I think a lot of us actually probably have done that, whether it's like when you moved away for the first time to college, or you just moved out for the first time, you're like making every excuse, like, I'm gonna go do laundry at home, or I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
I don't know, borrow milk from my mom or whatever.
Steal her groceries.
Yeah,
Let my mom
exactly.
ask me if I'm looking for something to eat and if I want something big or something small.
Exactly. So I love that the show is always so good at that, because as far removed as Buffy's journey is, and I always say this because she's a vampire slayer, and these surreal and unreal elements around her daily life that we don't have to interact with in our daily lives, the show does really well at always making it seem and feel so relatable. And so, like, I don't know, it just takes you back to some part of your own life, where you kind of felt these emotions and you're like, oh shit, I don't like how this feels, and you know right away how she's feeling. So yeah, I loved it. It was fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. All right, well,
Let's do it.
I know I was about to say let's have some fun and actually go through the walkthrough, so that way we can really get into the things that are going to come up.
Yeah.
All right, that's. We open where we should, in the cemetery, as Buffy sits with Willow pondering what classes she should be taking. She's against ones that would involve her doing mass amounts of reading, but is totally down for watching movies for credit, which they have. So they say. Willow is down for anything that won't conflict with them taking psych together, and she's heard Professor Walsh is something renowned.
How do you get to be renowned? I mean, like, do you have to be noun first?
I did not realize what this word meant. I don't think I'd ever really heard it other than on the show. The vocabulary lesson this episode is the word renowned means known or talked about by many people / famous. Just to throw that out there. Like, so if you ever hear that someone's renowned, like basically when they say revamped is so renowned, we're going to be like, yes, exactly.
I was literally about to say that. So funny.
Peep the owls who and immediately coming in too. And I was like, I bet Courtney's out there with her binoculars as we always used to. You probably hardly watch for owls anymore. I'm always bringing that shit back from 4 seasons ago.
No, I actually just did yesterday. I was looking for something.
Good. That means it's still relevant.
Yeah.
After Willow calls Buffy out for being last minute with choosing her courses, and Buffy claps back about how Willow chose her major in preschool, it's good to be extra planned out because we don't want to get caught unawares, as the unaware two are unaware to the fact that there's a vampire emerging from the dirt behind them. They chat about how they are pumped for school, sort of, because one is and the other is a little on the fence. How Giles told Buffy that she's got to be back in the Slayer closet, along with how she's going to have to juggle Slayer-themed life. Or college Slayer themed life. The vamp, really happy about his meals that he's approaching, spots Buffy's weapons bag, and he calls a spade and decides he's about to get the fuck out of there. He disappears as Buffy announces how she's got to stay sharp, turning back to look at the grave to scoff.
Is this guy ever gonna wake up?
It's so funny to watch because you get this like,
and you just see everything happening in the background. You're like, all right,
it's like,
way to stay sharp.
You did not say sharp, Buffy. Like, is this some version of being aware? Because neither of them know that this vampire actually woke up and crawled out the fucking grave. So both of them kind of stupid. And I feel like it was a pretty wise decision on this vampire's part to just move the fuck along. Like, it sets up so much awareness just in this scene for the episode and what we're going to be dealing with.
In general, I think that, like, maybe outside of Oz, who unfortunately for us doesn't like share his observations often, I feel like he is a very observant, like, aware male person on this show. I feel like the rest of them are so unaware, and this has been the most aware man on the show so far, is this vampire, because not only didn't he just go straight for these two girls like a bloodthirsty bitch, like he took a second and he like looked around and was like, oh wait, oh no, they have straight up like a dagger, a stake, a bow and arrow, fucking probably holy water, like who knows what else, you know, like
Well,
cross it,
also,
garlic.
what's he got to be thinking whenever he crawls out this grave? Obviously, like you said, he's bloodthirsty. He's waking up for the first time as a vampire, and he sees these two girls. He's like, damn, they deliver Uber Eats out here to the graveyard. Like, they just happen to be chilling here tonight. This is
the meal on wheels.
Like, yes, exactly.
The meals on
It's like delivery. He's like, I hope it's DiGiorno. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Who likes that? Not me. Frozen pizza, boo.
But yeah, I was just super impressed because he just took a second, and instead of just lunging in for the kill or something, he was like, oh, never mind, I'm gonna go find something else. Like, this is not it.
So like I said, that's so fun to play on the awareness that Buffy is not clearly having, but yet the vampires got awareness. Like, it lets you know that like the vampires are kind of also going to be one up to Buffy this episode in a certain way when you think about it in that way contextually.
What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that though?
What is happening?
For real. No, listen.
Courtney needs to know. Yes.
I noticed that and I was like, okay, but hold on. It's a little unfair, don't you think? Like, she's already having a tough time personally. Not that that's usually not the case, because she always got fucking something going on. But she didn't like move to a different continent or a country or even a state, like, you know, so why are the vampires so evolved like all of a sudden, and why is everything harder? And I don't know, I was just like freaking out for her. I was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm there and I need to get out of this episode now.
I have some fun facts about Sunday later. I think that they'll surprise you. I did not tell you about.
Oh shit. Okay.
Before we move along, of course, we have to fade to black and cue the Buffy theme. Now. Na season 4. All right, cool.
Episode 1.
Freshman. All right, welcome to University of California, Sunnydale. Stretch Princes by Universe plays as a very timid and lost-looking Buffy stands amongst a sweeping crowd of students in the daylight, first day of freshman year. The atmosphere is already so different and full of freedom of speech and half-naked men. Flyers are handed out left and right that include rallies, accepting Jesus Christ into your heart, and of course, parties. That damn church girl reminded me of Amanda Bynes' character Marianne from Easy A, like with her little religious group.
Jesus tells us to love everyone. I mean, even the whores and the homosexuals, but it's just so hard. It's so hard because they keep doing it over and over again.
And I love that so much. She's like, would you like to accept Jesus Christ into your heart? And Buffy's like,
I meant to, and then I just got really busy.
it's so funny. It's not what she says, but we'll talk about that later. But I like it because it establishes exactly what we need to feel from Buffy the majority of the episode, because when we open up, just cinematography wise, she's standing amongst this huge chaotic crowd moving all around her. The camera pans like high up to her to show her standing in this field of people as if it's like she's a small person in this big new world. And I feel like it's a metaphor for her of how small she's feeling or going to begin to feel small and insecure as we progress the episode. So I thought that this was nice. And she already can't get a hand on things the first day. Like the first 5 minutes of arriving on campus, her fucking life is going to shit. Like, I'm so sorry, Buffy. She finally bumps into Willow, voicing her overwhelm. And apparently Willow switched one of her classes to learn West African drumming. I don't know what the fuck that's about. She's like, ethnomusicology. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I can only imagine Willow now, like next time they need to summon some kind of demon or some kind of like special spirit to like help, she's gonna be like, Giles, I got the drums. You know. Neither of these girls have met their roommates. They move and chat about how this experience is a bit much, each having their own reasoning. And of course, like, Willow is thriving. I want to know why Buffy is so timid about this. Like, I guess because she's resisting the change in a way, because, you know, Willow's like excited about this even when Oz appears just in a little bit. Buffy's still trying to find ways to be like, oh, I'm not comfortable, and like trying to get them to kind of relate to the edge that she's already feeling herself on. And I feel like that's pretty relatable because I've had to work really hard in my life to accept change, especially big moments. And I don't always immerse myself very well into it. I feel like I handle it pretty confidently, definitely better than our Buffy does here, I can say, which is to say a good bit because I talk about how all the time, like I grew up learning from her. So thank God I didn't apply these parts of her life to my life. But there's like this known vibe of you can't really control things at the same time. And when you're dealing with blank space. So I feel like I have to really care about it to be truly balls and excited. So like I do understand where Buffy's stance is coming into it, but like us talking about it just because I don't have it in the dialogue. When we were watching the episode, there was a couple times after Willow makes her comments about how she's like this new experience and like talking about.
But here, the energy, the collective intelligence, it's like this force, this penetrating force, and I can just feel my mind opening up, and letting this place just thrust into and spurt knowledge into.
And she's like, oh, that sentence started out in a different place than I intended it to get into. She basically was talking about a penis going into something and exploding jizz and all the things. That's where your mind would get set up. Like, I don't know what it was we said later. That's why I'm saying it sucks that we don't really remember or didn't write down some of the things. We were a little unhinged when we were watching this and we kept bringing that shit back up. That was also me coming off hot of telling you about my dream that I had about you and your lover that was not your actual lover.
I told Meredith about that and she died. She was like, what the fuck is he dreaming that shit for? I'm like, I don't think he can control his dreams now.
It was crazy.
But it was really funny because then anytime something referenced it after that, like I think we were watching something and some lady walks in some yellow dress and I was like, look, it's my wife.
Oh my God. We'll have to tell everybody this story one day. On campus, boyfriend Oz comes up and tries to be on the same page with Buffy about the college madhouse and how he feels like he's out of place until that one dude comes up knowing him and then he calls out to Doug to say, hey. Like he's like, I have no idea what's going on, but he has every idea of what's going on. I'm like, okay, Oz. Once again, you were correct about Oz. I feel like Oz should have been in the opening scene. He'd be like, y'all know that vampire's waking up, right? Like,
for real though, like literally.
Oz would have took him down. No, when he went to run off or walk off, Oz would have threw his stake from across the way and it would have boinged off the fucking tombstone again. Like last season opener. Oh my God. Willow and Buffy venture off to find the library to get books talking about unemployed gentleman of leisure, Giles, aka he's a slacker now. And Buffy comes in with the shade talking about, oh, speaking of slack, have you heard anything from Xander? Like, I've never caught that before. Does she go, speaking of slack, you heard about Xander? Like, or have you heard from him? Like, slack Xander, like the show is aware of the fact that Xander is slack or has been in the past to make this connection. I wrote my notes. I said, oh my fucking God, the way I just giggled so I wouldn't forget. Like, this shit was fucked up. He ain't even there to defend himself. They do clarify that she hasn't heard anything from him because, he's been gone all summer on his cross-country drive through all 50 states. And, oh my God, the crap that he's been to that we get into later. But I love how, like, Buffy's like, did you explain about Hawaii? And she's like, well, he seems so determined. So she's just going to let her best friend not only be called a slacker, but drive his car through the straight ocean to get there. So I don't know. Oh. They arrive at the library and are taken aback by this huge ass library that they've made it to. One that they have to shh in. I like Willow. She's like, we even have to whisper in here. She's like, it's like a whole new world. Giles is not even here. And I noted to you, I was like, we will not be seeing this library that often on the show. So I wanted to let you know ahead of time, like, this ain't a new hangout spot. They ain't trying to regurgitate shit from the previous seasons. This is the one shot we really see it for a while.
I wasn't vibing with this library, so I was glad for that.
They try to make it all look extra big too, having their like the camera at their feet level looking up with them. I'm like, okay.
I know, like, this ain't a cathedral.
And let some bitch in a library nor anywhere else in life Thomas shh to me. What? I'm
gonna do that to you next time I see you.
I mean, Willow was kind of screaming all up in the thing, and you please do that because I will make you shush. Okay, and we know how I'll do that. All right, great. I'll kiss you. My favorite activity. Over in the bookstore, they are grabbing their books. One that Buffy prays that Joyce will not be having an aneurysm over. She's like, when Mom gets the bill for these books, she's gonna die. I'm like, oh shit. And here's where Buffy knocks down a bunch of intro to psych books onto a very attractive male's head we learn is named Riley, and we find out also that he is one of the TAs that helps out Professor Walsh. Willow and him hit it off because they're both clearly fucking nerds, and Buffy begins to feel a bit more isolated. in this scene, you know, we meet this kind of face that we see a couple of times in here. What do you have first thoughts wise of like this being a new character that we've clearly introduced as far as the name of saying, hi, my name is Riley? Like, what do we think about Riley?
I like Riley, I think.
There's not much to go off of.
It was, well, what struck me, and obviously, unfortunately for Buffy's sake, is that he was so instantly, like, attracted to Willow, it seemed, and they seemed to really hit it off, and usually, of course, we're used to kind of seeing Buffy in that situation, so I was like, whoa, that's an interesting shift for college also, that Willow's, you know, walking away with a dude.
I know, right? Yeah, that's a turn of events, but that's also what makes Buffy feel 10 times more small within this interaction. She's like, oh, this guy doesn't even notice me, and then later on he doesn't even remember my name. You know what I mean? Things like that.
So I think I liked him right away, and then he lost a point later in the episode because he seemingly didn't even remember any of like interacting with Buffy until she had to remind him, like, hey, I dropped books on your head. You know, like that's not something you would forget regardless of like how irrelevant you feel a person is or how not like memorable they are or whatever.
Yeah.
I just feel like any person, a bird could fucking drop books on my head and I would remember that. You know what I mean? Like an invisible man could do it and I would be like, oh, that's one time a ghost. Like you remember what happened. So I don't know. That was awesome.
Yeah. But that also just lets you know how much chaotic energy is flowing around a college where like you meet somebody and you're like meeting probably so many other people. Students, it's the first week of school. So he's meeting a shit ton of students. But also, again, he did hit it off with Willow. So it would be interesting to see how like if they continue to have him on the show in little spurts, if he ends up becoming like a little side best friend for Willow, or if he like ends up, you know, integrating into the gang in some way, shape, or form, if he's got his own stuff going on, if he's a monster, you know what I mean? Like,
or if Willow cheats on Oz with him, because what the hell's going on
that
there?
Would be the most. We don't need Willow cheating on people again. We don't have time for that.
True. I forgot that already happened. My bad.
Yeah. We're gonna cut that out, but leave it in. Speaking of cutting, we cut over to her arriving, Buffy, at her college dorm, and like this whole college sequence honestly reminds me of the movie Son-in-Law, because when she walks down the hallway approaching her room, there's like that guy walking by in the fucking towel, like right fresh from the shower, because you know they don't have like a bathroom in there. That's a collective community shower on their dorm hall or however that works. Like they all have to coexist together. And there's like this scene in Son-in-Law where like people are running naked up and down the hallway, parties are going on, and people are just chatting in the hallway and like crossing over from room to room and stuff. I don't know. It's just interesting ebb and flow. I feel like I would love to exist in that atmosphere of having traveled to college to live in a dorm, but at the same time, I would have probably got tired of that shit real fucking quick. Like, I can imagine the hot sex I'd have with some random guy in the fucking bathroom in the shower stall or some shit, but then also at the same time I would have to see him in the hallway 2 days later when I didn't want to talk to him anymore, so that'd be awkward. Like just like things I'm like but I'm you know, like I said earlier, I like how it's really putting us in the seat of we're at college now. Here in the dorm room we meet Kathy and take in the living space. Gotta know what your first impression of Kathy is, because I think it's so funny that she's clearly taken the left side of the room. I mentioned you, and she's like, oh, you took the right side. And I'm like, well, duh, bitch, your shit's all unpacked on the left. Like, the right side is empty. Like, that's your first engagement with this bitch. You know what I mean?
It's already giving emotional manipulation, kind of like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But also confused. I'm just confused. The only note I wrote about her the whole time in this whole like sequence of things was Kathy already annoying.
I don't like her haircut.
She looks like her name should be Karen.
Yeah. Oh, it is Kathy.
And then she goes on acting like
it is Kathy with a K, I will say. It's not the C.
We can't get it wrong.
Oh, this bitch is wild. This will be fun. Kathy is a bit overstimulating, as I put next in the notes, aka annoying, as Courtney thought, to all of us, and makes Buffy feel more out of place with her excitement, but does voice how she's happy to be paired with somebody cool, because she can tell that Buffy's cool. And also how this year is just going to be super fun, slapping a poster up on the wall of fucking Celine Dion. Like listen, this is supposed to make you want to kill yourself. Like, this is supposed to make Buffy feel like she wants to kill herself. I'm not trying to like pro suicide at all, obviously, but like in the lightest of hearts, you would be like, what the fuck? Now, I love Celine Dion, and I still like her to this day. I grew up listening to her because my mom loved her in the 90s. She's an iconic pop diva. Do I put her on every day on shuffle on my fucking Spotify? I do not. But at Christmas time, do I listen to a couple of albums from her Christmas album? I sure as fuck do. Like, does My Heart Will Go On slap every 4 or 5 years? It surely does. I sang it in the second grade talent show when that stupid bitch Abby won for singing the fucking national anthem instead and stole my fucking trophy. We've talked about this. I do believe it. Listen,
Abby.
It just puts you in this atmosphere of Buffy's room being like, this bitch, I've come in here and she's fucking dillying out this interesting energy. And then she obviously is peppy as fuck. And that's so polar opposite of Buffy. Buffy's got good energy, but Buffy ain't this hyped to fuck up. She's like, this bitch took 4 Adderalls today.
For sure. No, the whole like day so far has been like 4 Adderalls, like, are all around.
It's giving BPD for sure. You know, like, seriously.
Yeah.
Apparently fun means Buffy's not being able to sleep as well, because Kathy laughs in her sleep and snores, keeping her up all night, like as we see as the close to this scene, because they kind of just end up chilling out in the apartment, like the next scene that we see them. The next day, though, Buffy sits in that class that she was excited about, you know, the one where she can watch movies for credit. And the professor is very sure to mention in his intro how this course is 1,000% not inclusive to watching videos for credit. Like the second you hear that, I don't think you really caught it in that way because there's so much going on, and we were like a little bit talking in the intro, but Buffy in the intro was like, we watch movies for credit. She's like, yeah, isn't college fun? Willow does. And then she gets here and he's like, this class is not to watch videos for credit. And I'm like, Willow done got Buffy to sign up for some shit that's not even accurate. Like, well, it's Willow's fault Buffy's having a bad day.
Kinda. She did add to it for sure.
But how do you know without knowing that you know that you don't know, you know? Again, Buffy is like, oh fuck, and then this motherfucker calls her out in front of everyone and embarrasses the fuck out of her. Now, I always feel like Buffy is so unprepared, and because of that, like, life slapping her the fuck down thing that's going on, it's like no wonder she's beat up until the very end of the episode. Like, she's creating this energy for herself, even though I just blamed it on Willow. I mean, it is mixed up with fear and some of this other stuff, and it's very understandable for her to be in this position, but I was like, come on, girl, you're Buffy, like, I need you to one, do better. But I guess this is like the humanity part of her side, or the side of her where she's got kind of stuck in her head about what's going on. And then it doesn't help that, like, she's in this class and this guy's being a total dick to her, and it's not his fault nor her fault in a certain aspect, but at the same time I came down on the side of like it being Buffy as a bit of a disruption to his class. So I get him being a little agitated with her because she's sitting here talking to the student. She's like trying to ask them blah, 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 something you can't really hear it. But then when he is like, blonde girl, what are you interrupting my class for? She's like, oh, I was just trying to see if there's still space and if this class is full yet, because I think I heard correctly that I'm able to kind of opt in now and like decide later type thing. I don't know if that's how class works. I don't think that's how. I think you have to choose your class before you're there. So basically Buffy's sitting in this class that she's not even a part of, because he's like, if your name's not on this list and you're in the wrong fucking space. And then he kicks her the fuck out. I'm like, you want to be so mad at this guy because you're like, okay, you're mad because you're fucking bald, you only have hair on the outline of your head, your wife gives you no puss at home, I get it. And so now because of that you treat your students like shit, most likely. Like, this is probably just your energetic quality as a teacher in general. But I'm like, Buffy's here causing disruption and being unprepared for class. So, like, did she kind of deserve, like, not to be talked to this way, but like to get this? Like,
here's my perspective. And this is just like, not even just to defend Buffy, who I'm sure we would all go up to bats for, but it's the first fucking day of school.
She's a freshman.
And she's a freshman.
Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
So I'm like, heaven forbid a bitch be confused, you know, like I would be confused, and I'm not interrupting you. I'm not raising my hand asking you a nonsensical ass question that's not relative to your class. So instead I'm asking the person beside me. Mm-hmm. And you're acting like you're knee deep in a lecture that you're not. You're just fucking.
He got 95 students in this damn big ass lecture hall. And he worried about like little whispers going on. That was an ego thing, a problem that he took personally.
Don't teach college, like, then, because guess what? I'm an adult and I'm a fucking, like you said, you're not gonna shush me.
Oh, he ain't shush her. He gave her the opportunity to talk. You're not wrong though. She is a freshman. Like, I don't know. It just gives you the difference of the type of people and what you could be getting when it comes to an adult like atmosphere. Sometimes you can get your ass handed to you because how that professor chooses academically to teach their class and to interact with you is kind of on them. Now they might be a hard ass that drives you like that. You know what I mean? Even Professor Walsh that we meet in a little bit, like she's very much a hard ass from jump, but she also is very upfront about the fact that she's a fucking bitch, you know?
Well, I think too, like there's a way to handle things. And I think for him to scold her as if she's like some disruptive student all the time, he's been dealing with her for years and now he's just hit his breaking point or something, like that's how he reacted. And that would be understandable. I'm like, yeah, if this bitch every day trying to have a conversation and talking over you while you're trying to do a lecture, I can understand after the 30th time you exploding and you're like, you know what, enough is enough, get the fuck out of here. But I mean, it's the first day of school and she's probably lost and confused. She's a freshman. Let her ask a damn question. And if it's that disruptive, you can handle that differently. You can simply walk up to her and say, hey, I feel like you're being disruptive, so I'm going to ask you to leave. It's the same message.
Yeah, it's awkward the way he does it.
But he basically was like, fuck off, get the fuck out.
He wanted a power move. He wanted to show that power differential and like what his class was going to be like to the other students that might fucking. He was setting the standard for his future class room antics, totally. Like 100%. But fuck him.
For real.
Later on, Buffy runs into Riley in the halls, who points her way to the psych room, which Buffy definitely needs to be taking psych after this class. Like she just came out. Just saying. Apparently, just because he knows how to read a room, like most people do not, because you know Buffy's out here just like I guess looking aimless on the way to class, and he's like, it's over here if you're looking for this. And it makes you think that he kind of remembers her. He's like, oh yeah, you said you're taking intro to psych, you hit me in the head with the book and shit like that. No, he doesn't remember this at all. Like whatever, because you know as the conversation unfolds, he's like, who are you again? And she's like, because she asks about his head, and he's like, oh yeah, you're Willow's friend. And I'm like, ooh, damn. Okay. I know we've already talked about that, but it's like, but I was like, cool, so now Buffy can feel more invisible here at college. Perfect. Like even though once again we already kind of said that earlier. Maggie Walsh comes in and introduces herself as the evil bitch monster of death. The way you laughed when she said that, like you were like, oh shit, like that. I'd rather be in that other guy's class. Just
I don't know. I'm gonna start self-identifying as that, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll change your name in my phone from soulmatey to evil bitch monster of death.
No, but I know someone in your phone who should go down as that.
All right, great. Anyways, this name is a name that her TAs not so secretly use behind her back. She clearly knows. She's like, they say this behind my back, but I already am aware of the fact that they say this behind my back. So she's like, I'm just going to call it as I see it. She's like, it's true. She voices how she runs a hard ship here, and her intensity is firm with boundary setting and how the students will need to keep up during her rigorous course. First impression of Maggie Walsh.
I mean, very brutal. To sum it up,
does this scream renowned to you? Because if you think about it, like we come off of it and we meet her so quickly, you're not really paying attention because like I said, there's so much going on, especially a first time view of it. But like Willow's talking her up and saying she's really excited for her class and how Buffy's got to take it with her. They meet Riley and he's like, oh, Professor Walsh is amazing. And then you come into this and she goes, I'm an evil bitch monster of death. I'm Courtney. You know, I am her and she is me.
I feel like I like her though.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great.
I mean, kind of. I like her presence for now because it's like, I don't know, it's giving like I'm gonna shake things up a little bit or something. I don't know. You know, like I don't know. I like it though.
So much to learn. Little one. Buffy takes the biggest gulp, and then we cut to nighttime as she walks through campus towards her dorm, if she can find it, because this bitch is lost as fuck. But her Slayer senses tingle, and she feels a bit eerie, and then bumps into baby Pedro Pascal, Eddie, who has also lost his way. But just his physical way, directionally, not in the same way Buffy seemingly lost hers in metaphor. She helps him find where he's supposed to be on his map, and that's the same pathway that she needs to take. So after introductions, they walk and talk together. Both a bit insecure, talk about how college is supposed to get easier and security blankets. Eddie's being a book Buffy thinks is porn, and hers being about, you know, what he surely is probably led to believe is a dildo, because she's like, oh, unless you count Mr. Pointy. And he's like, Mr. Pointy? Like, obviously we know she's talking about Kendra Steak, but I love this callback to Kendra because it doesn't let her go out. Like we don't see or hear from her ever again because she's the fuck out of here. But how often they've done it on the show is really special. I find it funny when Buffy brings up Mr. Pointy because you obviously automatically think about Kendra. But I also love how I keep saying that Pedro, how Eddie says Mr. Pointy because it's very inquisitive, and then Buffy changes the subject real quick because she just came off talking about porn and now she's talking about Mr. Pointy. Like, what's it point to? What's it do? What is this thing? He's like, can I come watch? Like, he's like, no, I can't because I'm about to move out my dorm tonight because I'm insecure and upset and gonna have to leave. Like, or so we'd be left to believe. This shit was funny. He gives her some advice for psych, having seen her carrying the books for Psych 101, and the two eventually make it to their fork in the road, and both are pleased with the decision that they've found another person to match energy with, and Eddie voices excitement over how they can help one another throughout the year. They part ways, and with a goofy grin on his face, Eddie heads the opposite direction, only to be grabbed undoubtedly by the 4 vampires Buffy's Slayer Tingle was sensing, the leader stepping from behind them to taunt him about him losing his way. I wrote really big in letters, poor Eddie. Because you feel so bad for him. Like, he's so cute. Buffy just finally made a friend that kind of feels like he's in the same position as her. We're like, oh, this might be somebody new to enter in the group, and he's cute. Like, we've got this other like energy in here, and I'm just like, I love him so much. He's so adorable as a person. Like, I was here for Eddie.
It was literally one of my least favorite parts of the episode because I just started to relax. I was like, oh, good. Like you're saying, like all these things, that just happened in this one little meeting of someone. And I was like, oh, great. She's going to be fine.
No.
And then literally like 11 seconds later,
her first best friend gets killed. Perfect. Her first best friend at college, I should say, because we know who her actual best friend is. So crazy. And then I remember when we were watching, like as soon as obviously we'll learn her name is Sunday, walks up and asks him if he loses his way. You're like, who the fuck is this bitch? Like, what's going on? Because obviously she doesn't have vamp face on, but all the other ones do. So we know that she's clearly a vampire and she's the ringleader of this. It's like a whole thing. But not really a good time for you to get a first impression off of her, but upon first read, you're like, what role is she going to play? Like, I could see that written on your face whenever she came onto the screen.
Kind of. I didn't know their intentions, yet.
Mhm.
Obviously, like, they're vampires, but you have her there, kind of. So you're like, what's their purpose? And what are they doing with one person? And there's 5 of them.
We find out in the next scene because we get a quick scene of these vampires raiding Eddie's room and stealing all of his things, leaving a note on his bed supposedly addressed from him. Because, we get a quick flash of it. It is what it is. I love how these vampires just come up in the dorm at night in full vampire phase and haul off all of Eddie's shit out of his singular dorm room because he has a dorm room to himself. And I'm like, does no one in the halls like that happen? It's college, so people are up late. Are there not students walking down the hall being like, damn, was somebody moving out? Where are they taking that shit to? I'm like, well, if these people were anything like me in school, they were probably stoned as fuck, so that's why they weren't paying attention. But I was like, this ain't your typical like run-of-the-mill shit. But honestly, it is kind of Sunnydale, so if they see a vampire walking down the hall, they can be like, I'm minding my own business and look the other way.
I mean, probably. That's really the only explanation, because I feel like, I don't know, there's lots to be questioned there, because they do this obviously all the time. So I'm like, at this point, and how did they clear on do it later when Buffy has a full-on roommate? I'm like, did y'all go like sedate her or something? I'm confused. Did you give her a tranquilizer?
That's what I'm saying, because clearly they have to do it at night. Like,
she was up and she was watching them and she was like, you know what? I wanted that side empty anyway.
Now that's a good one that we didn't say before. That one's fucking funny. Literally, Kathy, knowing her in the future that we see of Kathy, that is 1000% the energy that Kathy gives off of like, you can go ahead and take her shit. No, she'd be up in there. What are you doing? What is happening? Well, don't take my stuff. That's how she settled. She was like, don't take my poster.
She's just in her bed looking at him. Okay, cool, thanks.
They look at her and they'd be like, you don't have Monet or Klimt on your wall. You can stay.
Literally, they're like Celine passes.
But interesting enough, like, how do these vampires get into Buffy's dorm? The fact that Kathy lives there. I get Eddie's dead, and technically I don't know if it's because it's a public space that people live in individually, but I would assume that vampires can't get into that dorm room. But I guess that makes sense for later, because there is a vampire that enters in one of the other dorms later on in the season. I can't really give spoilers, but that's a fun little breadcrumb. Doesn't matter. But I guess because it is a public dwelling, that nobody's actual residency takes place there, because it's a collective amount of residents that live in this space. It's just like them being able to get into a school or a library or something like that. That's a public space or whatever at night.
Yeah.
But also, again, how the fuck, like, I guess we're going to have to go with what you said. Kathy was just like, y'all can take that shit, I'm sleeping. Or she was snoring so loud she ain't heard them do that stuff because they're vampires and they move silently. I don't fucking know.
But they've done this dozens of times. So I'm also like, how have they done this all the time without anyone saying anything ever? Like, there is not one single roommate that stopped y'all from taking the other roommate's shit and didn't ask no questions.
Eddie's makes sense because he's got a solo room. But I'm like, did they, like, one of them distract Kathy and get her out of the room? Did they, like, kind of keep a watchful eye for the lights to go out and, like, see her leave out to go grab a coffee or something and be like, all right, let's get in and get out? Because if it was 5 a.m., like, my mindset would be thinking, because then nobody would really be in the hallways. Most everybody would probably be getting to sleep, and like that's that last little niche of hour that you can really get in before the sun starts to rise, when you know people are asleep and they aren't getting up having their coffee or getting ready for class and yada yada yada. They ain't doing that shit at 12 a.m. and people, like I said, students in the hallway coming home from parties, getting high outside. Like, I know I would have been like sitting on benches, chilling out. Like, Buffy can't even hunt in the mob later on in the episode because she's like, there are so many people out moving around campus right now. Like, normally when I go on hunt, it's alone in the cemetery.
Empty. Yeah. The dish.
All right, here's the first appearance of the cat feeder in this season. Now that the cats are chewing down, we can get back into the episode fully and leave this conspiracy theory behind of how the fuck they get this shit out of there. The next day after psych class, Buffy looks around for Eddie but doesn't see him and feels a bit odd about it. After thanking Willow, aka her mom, about finding a new friend, she heads to Eddie's room, and the guy there explains Eddie's just sort of took off overnight and how some kids tend to do this sort of thing in their first semester. She reads his note that I kind of wish we had Moloch reading out, because let's face it, that's like the last time we saw like an ominous note that was forged on the show that wasn't really written by the people. I didn't forget. But remember, Moloch was like, I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, love, Dave. I was like, this letter should be read out and go, this is too much to handle. I can't take it anymore. No time to say goodbye. Love, Eddie. I had to call that a season 1 because that's the first thing I thought about when this note got left behind. I was like, damn, I forgot all about Dave until I saw this damn piece of paper. But that's so fucked up that these vampires do this. And like you said, they've been doing this, and we found out later, since the 80s. So they've been doing this well over like about 15, 16, 17 fucking years now, if not more than that, because my mental math is not mental mathing.
And this whole time, not a single roommate has stopped them.
At all. They killed both of them. They went back for the next one the next night too.
That's probably what it
picking
is.
Them off
I wonder if the first phase is like the Klimt poster, and if they see it, you're automatically done for. And if they don't see it and you try to intervene with what they're doing and ask too many questions, then you're automatically done for. But if you just stay asleep, even if you wake up, but you pretend to stay asleep, and just let it happen, then you're good. Sorry.
This is so troubling.
If anyone knows what do y'all think happened, that's what we really need y'all to weigh on this time.
Literally, though,
weigh in.
I need them to, because like
they're like they Houdini'd it out of there.
Another interesting element to pull from for this gang of vampires is if they've been doing this since 83, obviously this most likely started with Sunday. Then she had to make this other group. She's only got like 4 other, there's maybe 5 or 6 of them in this group. I think there's a group of 5. Because there's like 3 guys and then the 2 girls. Yeah. Not that important, but I was like, did she sire them? And also, if they've been doing this since the 80s, like how long does she stay by herself as a loner before she started being like, oh, I need lackeys because I'm clearly like head bitch in charge, like HBIC, but HVIC, you know? But like, wouldn't you think after 17 years or so, they'd have a group of more than 5 people working the campus? Maybe they'd have like kind of the master's mindset from The Wish, where they're like mass production. Let's like chain these bitches up in the basement so we can just eat them whenever we want to. So we don't have to go out. I don't know. They're living college life in a very interesting aspect, because not only are they stuck in the portal of like keeping up with the times, because they're not dressed like the 80s. They're like modernized vampires that have grown over the cycles. But it's also interesting because they're still like, this is college to them. They never grew out the college phase. They're like going out night by night instead of going to parties and stuff like that. And they might attend parties and stuff, but they're going out on the hunt every night as a little group. They're like their own little groupies. You know what I mean? Like they're their own little niche college group. I'm getting really hyper focused on it. It's a cool element to think about. They're like, because they're working the campus and stuff like that. They've got their own side of things. They're doing like the night
I don't
version
know.
of
Do you
it.
think over time some of them have like gotten killed or died or something? I don't know. Maybe there was more of them at some
Sunday
point.
got
But
pissed.
here's another interesting thing too. Why are kids still going to this college? Because we're only in night like 1 and 2, and they've already like taken 2 people and cleared 2 people's rooms out. So I'm like, how has this whole town not been speculating these missing people at the rate they're going? Like they're stealing a person a night.
I got the easiest solution of an answer for you. It's Sunnydale.
Well,
It is Sunnydale.
but still, they don't got no damn parents, these kids. Like, no one's looking for
As if the parents cared in any other atmosphere. If now, if anything, the kids don't even know the fucking parents anymore.
And
So
that's really not true, because even though it is there, it's college now. So also, there's people from all over the world, you know, and other states and cities and shit that go there now to college. So
unfortunately.
it's like these, if, you know, you send your kids off to college
die.
and they go missing in another state in night 1 and 2 of fucking college, you don't think you're going to be in a damn uproar?
Yeah, because it's not Sunnydale parents that we're dealing with on the overall spectrum, because you're not wrong.
Another
Kids
loose
have
end.
come from other places and shit. Damn.
Another loose
And you know Eddie's parents love the fuck out of him, so they're definitely looking for his ass, but they probably haven't had the time to figure out, and they'll never know what happened. He's just a missing person at this point, because there ain't no body to find later.
Apparently he committed suicide or ran away, according to his empty dorm and the note. But still,
they're like, why didn't he come back home? He just gave up completely on life. Like, and this is happening consecutively. This is just wild. This is a really interesting concept. We haven't dealt with this before, though, so it is really kind of fun to sit here and ponder. And
I just have more
with.
questions. Than
Yeah,
anything,
100%. Well, the guy eventually leaves Buffy there, and she spots in Eddie's drawer an item left behind, that being the book that he claimed to be his security blanket of human bondage, staring back at her. And this gives her the vibe that something is off about this. I love that. I don't know. That's a great way for like Buffy to get herself thinking. And obviously, as the audience, like we're watching it, we get to catch on quicker because we know what happened to Eddie so far. So we're like, oh, but I also wrote, like, I was like, I wonder if Buffy kept this book to read it, because she's like, I'm not into porn, but Eddie praised this book so hardcore, maybe I should read it. So I don't know. Either way, over in the abandoned frat house, the Brando Fratto, we find we find the vamps have post up here. Dead Eddie on the floor in the room as they're going through his things that the lead vampire calls very boring, because she's like, this stuff sucks. They listen to the Muff song, I Wish That I Could Be You. We also find that she is a bitch in general, because she fat shames the one girl vampire lackey that she's got, and actually shows some excitement over like a painting that they found amongst Eddie's things, because, you know, like as we've talked about and everybody already knows, like they've been keeping a tally on the predictability of freshmen choosing artwork prints, and they're usually always a certain art painting by Monet or Klimt, and they're like got the fucking tally board, and they're like, score for this person, score for that person. They're like, and of course, you know, the fucking Sunday herself is like, fucking freshmen, they're so predictable. And I'm like, I would have had Salvador Dali up on my shit or something. Like, I wouldn't have even, they wouldn't have took my post, and they would have had to create a whole new tally side for people like me. Anyways, the leader goes full mega cunt on her gang, though, because we need to really get the idea that she calls the shots, and she's clearly ungrateful to them for offering to go get some people to eat for them. Her plan is to let dead Eddie get dinner, though, as we see his eyes open on the floor. Really like that pan, because she's like, and why don't you let dead Eddie get your dinner? And she's like, that's the plan. And she like walks by him, and all of a sudden, like, that horror trope music kind of like happens when his eyes open, and we're like, oh shit, Eddie got turned. I just thought they killed him because we saw him on the floor when we first came in the room. Maybe they just finished drinking him. Like, what an awful night for Eddie, like, in general.
Seriously.
I do want to know all the collected shit that they have in the bando. I wouldn't say all, but like for the first time I noticed that there's this big cotton candy tower behind Sunday in the chair that she's sitting in, like all those little spokes that you stab them into so they sit around a wheel for you to like take them out of. And I was like, it kind of made me want some, even though like I don't really fuck with cotton candy because it's super sugary, but I had a craving that I still have yet to scratch, because once again, too bad for your body. But I had also forgot, like I commented to you the Christmas lights that are hanging up everywhere in here. I was like, oh, they must have went and stole that from Faith's motel room from last season, so that way they could hang up all this, because this is the exact same colored lights that Faith had up in there with the multicolored shit.
Definitely repurposed.
I feel like I also, like, upon past rewatches, I took this one in differently, really looking at the stuff in the background, because I've seen the episode so much. Obviously I'm writing stuff out for the walkthrough. I remember this place being a lot cooler back in the day, today, but now I just look at it and it kind of looks trashy because they don't have that much stuff in here. They're choosing what they keep from the fucking people they kill, obviously. But I was like, I guess vampires don't really necessarily have to live all nice because their couches like all shredded up and torn up. They ain't got shit like crap all over the floor. They've hung tennis rackets and fucking shit on the walls. Like that's their decor. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? I'm like, this is this weird
so
crossbreed of all this random shit. They just decided to be like, oh, we're gonna put this here. Like, who did they get that cotton candy tower from? Did they kill the guy that was selling it like outside one night or something and steal his fucking cotton
Probably.
candy? And they ain't gonna eat it because they're vampires, so it's just there for decor. Like, I don't know.
And I wonder, like, why did they get the idea to keep all the Klimt posters and just, like, hang them and stack them and tack them on top of each
They
other?
noticed
make,
it was a fucking theme that continued over the fucking eras. Which
you think
makes
with
it
as
funny.
much shit as they talk about it, they would just, like, burn them or something.
Literally,
you know?
they'd be like, oh, fuck, another Clint. They'd just be pissed off at it. No, this is a fun game to them. Talking about Sunday, though, because obviously now we get to see a little bit more of her personality and stuff. Like, this bitch has the audacity to think that she's this boss bitch energy, living up in this crummy ass night like space that I've been talking about. And then obviously her whole friend group, she doesn't like her lackeys because she shit talks them the whole fucking time. I'm surprised they haven't overpowered her and killed her fucking ass so that way they can just like live and thrive. But clearly she's like picked out the little fucking people out of the crowd. Like, I'm assuming that since they turned Eddie, that Eddie was going to be the new member of the gang and stuff like that, because maybe they picked somebody that was like okay to go lost, to go missing, that people wouldn't care about very clearly. But
Yeah.
I wrote my notes. I was like, come on, girl. I was like, reality check. You're not all that cool. Also, you're a meanie that fat shames people, because twice in this same scene, like when that girl goes to put on the sweater, she's like,
Does this sweater make me look fat? No, the fact that you're fat makes you look fat. That sweater just makes you look purple.
you laughed and I still laugh because it's really funny, but it's also
just
fucked
because she's
up.
such a damn bitch.
Yep.
And like you're saying, it's just one of those typical like power move things where it's like she's not only outnumbered by the people around her, but she happens to be the smallest one of them.
Literally, though.
So I'm like,
more than
it's just
others.
such a display of like how like mind control works, you know, and she's put herself on this pedestal of like authority, so they follow suit like she's their leader. And
fear her,
it just
clearly.
makes you wonder, especially her, because they're all adults, you know, so it's like you wonder how an adult, no matter how young you are, can handle like verbal lashings constantly, especially about your appearance and stuff that sticks with you over time, you know, and like really tarnishes your own self-esteem and confidence. You'd think one day this other chick would just wake up and stake the shit out of her in her sleep.
Well, especially
problem fucking solved.
Especially after she doubles down the second time around, the girl, like, they suggest food and she's like, yeah, I'm hungry, and Sunday goes, what a shock. I literally wrote my notes. I was like, oh my fucking god, bitch. Like,
yeah, it's like she's one of those characters you love to hate and you don't feel bad about it because she just doubles down on her own like assholery kind of thing, and you're just like, whatever, you're just
now that I'm an adult, I laugh at it more so because of the fact that I'm just flabbergasted with what the fuck's coming out of her mouth more than anything. Like, are you really right now? But like back in the day, I'm pretty sure I was just like laughing and as the collective whole of like everything that's going down, because I'm sure I used to like fat shame people too, or like get off on people picking on others in certain ways. I wouldn't say I personally did, because I've been picked on, but now my mindset is warped on it, and I'm like, oh, that's completely different. I would never treat anybody like that, because that's an immature level of being versus a mature level to pick on people or rag on them, however, whatever.
You've grown up.
Absolutely. Buffy arrives at Giles' home, but finds a half-naked woman of color in his home, aka Olivia, and we are treated to the fact real quick that Giles is the GOAT. And I think what Buffy meant to say earlier was Giles has become a gentleman of pleasure, not leisure. Like, because Buffy is horrified to realize that he's been in here pounding this thing's poon all the fuck up. Like, crazy. I loved getting to see this part with you. What's your first impression of Olivia?
Well, after you told me about the dream you had, all I could think of was that's my wife.
Same.
But yeah, first off, not what I expected for Giles as far as like a choice in partner, just because I mean, the only thing I know is Jenny, you know, so it's like such a polar opposite.
and I gone.
And Joyce.
Oh, and Joyce. Shit, damn.
It's just that, like, she seems like a polar opposite, even in her energy. Like, the way that she carries herself is a little bit different. But then when she starts talking and you kind of get a feel of, like, what kind of person she might be, it makes perfect sense why she's there with Giles. But yeah, it was shocking to see that Giles had company in that regard, because I was like, damn, that's not, I thought he was just going to be so, I don't know. In a way, I thought she was going to show up and Giles was going to be like inconvenienced with her presence because he was like so used to chilling, you know.
Oh no, he was
like,
chilling.
He was like smoking a blunt and
Well, he was
like
doing that too.
making weed brownies,
He
and
was probably
like
doing
he's
that
like,
too.
get the fuck out of here.
He's
like a drug dealer now.
He didn't have Joyce over today. He had Olivia over.
That's true.
I like how Olivia, clearly he knows her from back home too, because she's got like a British accent or like an English accent in general.
Yeah.
Like, I just wrote my notes really big. I was like, we love to see Giles getting his right. Like, the fact that I love that he's in a biracial, what I'll call situationship, because clearly we get the illusion that like she's just here visiting and stuff like that for him. But obviously this is somebody that he's hooked up with before in the past in some way, shape, or form. So it kind of gives us this little like pull into some other part of Giles's world that we haven't seen or heard of before. Once again, we're getting introduced to a new person. New characters are all across this episode. Like, it really changes the whole atmosphere, every area we're going, because now we're at Giles and we're meeting someone new. You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing Giles in a whole new state.
Unexpected.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Buffy voices the bad time that she's clearly popped in at, one that looks pretty bad in her eyes anyways, because Giles isn't supposed to be doing this, you know, having a private life thing, aka he's very, very old and it's gross. Olivia goes to put clothes on, and getting on the subject of what brings her there, Giles and her discuss the Eddie missing situation and how she suspects vamps are working the campus. Giles claims this sounds like something normal that Buffy can handle and how they don't need to operate as they used to. Buffy is hit with his gentle truths about how she has no watcher now and she has to be in charge of her own life and how he can't always be there to guide her anymore. She's put down by this and he realizes, but she plays it off as he's right, even though this adds another layer to her feeling aloneness, and she leaves. I like how they like point out, like, and honestly just in general, how Buffy has no watcher, yet she still comes to Giles because she needs to seek out an adult. She needs to seek somebody for guidance in some way, shape, or form. She just can't seem to get a handle on her own existence. And this whole interaction, though, does kind of help force Buffy to start to grow up a little. It doesn't really help because of the position that she's already in. This actually adds to some negativity that she's going through. But in the longer term part of things, it does like set her up to say, like, girl, you got to take care of yourself. I know that's a harsh truth, just like for people to learn, like, I can't always be there for you. And he basically says that. So I appreciate Giles for that. And not just immediately caving and be like, how can I help you? Even though I do feel like he should have just immediately supported her because of the fact that he still lives in town. He still knows of her like this. He can't just abandon her, whether he's her watcher or not, especially after he acted all the back half of the season after he got fired the way he did and was still in the mix. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, what is happening here? But it is what it is. That evening, Buffy attempts to patrol, but it's busy out on campus, and she's not used to people being out in the evening like this. She notices Eddie disappear behind some trees, and she tails off after him, calling out about how she was worried and thought something had happened to him.
God, I was worried that something had happened to you, and of course it has because you're a vampire. I'm sorry. I'm not.
We get the 2K per slay of Eddie, and Buffy stands stunned at this. I love how she slayed his ass super quick, like so instantaneously. Like he literally like swooped over her one time, she knocked him back, she turned around and then staked his ass. I love how he like grabs his chest in shock and falls back as he dusts, because he did not expect this to be what happens as a fresh vampire. But I also like how Buffy genuinely tells him, even though it's not really him anymore, that she's sorry for what happened to him. And I know he's like, I'm not, because obviously in the new state, he's not upset. But I was like, that's unfortunately another slap in the face for her, because she just met this normal person and is trying to like get normalized in her new atmosphere. And now this new familiar recognition of her life now has been ripped away from her. Like, look, quite not just RIP'd ripped, but like ripped. Like... like rest in peace, Eddie, for sure. But like he's taken away from her so soon, and this is somebody that she saw just as innocent. She's like, fuck, now I still got to deal with this kind of shit as I'm trying to still deal with this. Like, it is vampires working the campus. It is like, what if, because I mean, how does she know it was vampires beforehand? She just saw the note and it was kind of ominous. She just assumed maybe there's vampires working the campus.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
Whole thing. But the camera pounds around to behind her where the leader vamp posse Sunday. I didn't write that her name was Sunday because we're about to learn it Sunday, but she calls out to the Slayer.
The Slayer. Wow. I heard you might be coming here. This is, what a challenge. The Slayer. And you are? Oh, I'm Sunday. I'll be killing you here in a minute or so.
Buffy's like unfazed by this recurring commentary from vampires, realizing that she's going to have to take on all 4 of them. But Sunday addresses quick to them that this fight is clearly all of hers. I love these 2 comments from what I guess we'll call like the stoner surfer vampire dude, because at first he's like, is there going to be a fight? Is there going to be like a monster sarcasm rally? and you laughed at him, which is what we all are supposed to do. And then Sunday is like, nah, this fight is all mine. He's like, okay, well, you guys share the eating, because I'm thinking Slayer's blood's gotta be like, whoa, Thai stick. Like, I ain't gonna lie, Thai stick, like chicken on a stick or beef on a stick, is so fucking delicious. Thai people do it so right. Like, their seasonings and flavors, mwah, chef's kiss, literally. But like, this vampire is stupid as fuck.
He was doing the most. I love him though. Honestly.
I do too. He's like my favorite character. Like, Buffy clowns on him.
He reminded me of that guy that answered the phone at the party and was like, Bunny?
Is there a buddy here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, his neck got twisted all up. Buffy clowns on him for not being so smart sounding. She's like, I thought people were supposed to get smarter in college. And Sunday is quick to rag on Buffy's outfit. And she's like, you had a lot of misconceptions about college, like that shit you got on your body. And now we understand what Sunday means about words hurting like a fist, like she said to her little friend earlier, friend in quotations, because that's what she serves up to Buffy next as the 2 get into their battle. Like, she blindsides the fuck. Buffy looks down at her clothes like, what's wrong with my outfit? She looks back up into a fucking fist. I'm like, ooh, not good for you, Buffy. Buffy gets her shoulder injured during their scrap and apparently is fighting like a girl, and Sunday's kind of kicking her ass. Buffy decides to retreat and runs off as Sunday scoffs. Ugh, freshman. So classic. That's totally what anybody that's an upperclassman says to freshmen. It's so unoriginal. Like, I remember people doing that in high school when we got there. Like, it eventually fed out. I never heard it again, but I had like one person call me a freshman. They're like, shut the fuck up, freshman. And I'm like, but I don't get told to shh. We learned that earlier in the episode, so not. But this would be, I feel like, a fun time to kind of give a first impression off of Sunday. Like, now that we've actually kind of seen her in a certain way, mostly because I say this, she's the epitome of Y2K style, because she's got these like specialty twists in her hair. She's got like the choker and combat boots, very grungy aesthetically and stuff like that. She also seems to be a kind of badass. So what do you think of Sunday overall?
I mean, she's typically the kind of energy I feel like I would like, because she's a very strong presence and she's a woman that's like super sure of herself. But I think in a way that is obviously very toxic, and in a way that is just screams negativity, and she's trouble. And for the show's sake and for the plot's sake, I really liked having her in this episode. And I like the idea of not really, I won't go as far as to say like an equal, as like a match to Buffy, to really give her a challenge, but maybe more of an obstacle, that more so than we're used to, because we're used to having inconveniences, and we're used to having in every episode some sort of thing that Buffy's got to tackle or defeat or take down. But in this case, we start off with her right away already getting an upper hand as far as Sunday goes, and we're not used to seeing that. Usually Buffy's very quick to handle her business and take down who she needs to take down and be after her mission and get that accomplished. So the fact that we have not just this problematic character, which is something we're used to, but it's amplified by the fact that Buffy's so distracted with all the things she's kind of experiencing personally as far as feeling vulnerable goes, and just being out of place, I think, in general. And then to have this kind of be the nail in the coffin for the day, is like, oh, well,
I like how that wraps for the Sunday.
Yeah, and you just know that it isn't going to be your normal quick like thing. She's going to be a pest for a minute. So that's also an interesting.
Did you think she was going to stick around a little bit more so too, because of how
I did initially?
Yeah.
I did, yeah. Just because, why not? Of course,
Yeah.
because it just overcomplicates Buffy's life. So that is obviously the energy that you get from Sunday right away. But she was an interesting one and not expected at all, because it's not like Faith where you kind of expect it from first just glance of a person. And of course, the way we were introduced to Faith was a little bit different, because there she goes, like slaying a vampire right away. But in this case scenario, it's like a matching energy to Buffy that's equal to her, but on the opposite side. And she's also a girl, so it's not like dealing with Angelus or fucking Spike or Drusilla or whatever crazy shit. It's just so much different, and it really does. I think it shifts the tone of the episode to really heighten the circumstances that Buffy's dealing with, and not just obviously in her personal life, because she's obviously just dealing with a lot of overstimulation and confusion and now defeat.
Literally, though.
Yeah.
Before we leave this scene, I know we had said, and I said specifically, that the vampire dude is like one of my favorite things from this episode. I think it's funny the humor that he brings to the scenes that he's in, because most of the episode we're like lacking that from like the Xander persona. We typically get the ice-breaking tension, like fun type stuff that's coming around, like when it comes to humor and stuff, or the little side jabs or the quips or things like that. Those are usually presented from our like resident class clown Xander. All the things like that. But
we had nowhere soft to land this whole entire episode because Xander wasn't there, basically.
For real, for like almost the whole thing. I wrote that in my notes later whenever we see him, that it's a whole literal 30 minutes before Xander even appears in a 45-minute episode. I was like, that's never happened before, so now I can skip that whenever we get to it. But we cut over to Buffy tending to her arm in her dorm room at night as Kathy's over there fucking snoring. Poor her is all beat the hell up. And, you know, obviously we clip immediately to the next day where she's walking around campus and her face is all bruised up. Like, this bitch done really fucking set in on her. We have not really ever seen Buffy like this, except for where she's fought with Faith, or whenever she got beat up and helpless and shit like that and stuff. You know what I mean? Those instances we've seen her really look hard.
And I think you don't expect it at first. Like, you know, she kind of got her ass handed to her, but when they show her in the aftermath, you're like, damn, she really got her ass
fucked up. Damn. So, like, I hate to say it, but Sunday won that fucking fight. She whooped up Buffy's ass. She looks across the campus and sees Oz and Willow over there, and like, who unlike her are vibing. Like, it's kind of sad when you see that, because she already looks like super sad and beat up, and she looks over at them and they just look like they're like integrated into college life so well, because they're sitting there talking to some other person that Buffy doesn't recognize at all. Like, they seem to be thriving, and Buffy's like, well, I'm not going to go over to them because I can't relate to them right now. So she decides to dip. We clip really quickly over to the vampires bando, where we find them sitting around reminiscing on the fight that had occurred, and like calling the Slayer a weak bitch and all this other shit that couldn't dress, and how she's not gonna last, all this, that, and the other. Like, fuck. Like, this is what they're doing with their day while they're waiting for night to come out. They're just ragging on fucking Buffy the whole time. Like, yeah, some Slayer. Ha ha ha. Did you see those patches on her fucking jeans? What the hell was that? Like, fucked up. We cut to Buffy arriving at her old home, Joyce appearing, welcoming her back with some of that warm glow that she's radiating, aka the positive vibes. She takes notice to Buffy's bruised up face and is also surprised to see her face around here in general, thinking it would have been a while before Buffy showed up. New life and all. Buffy heads towards her bedroom, expressing she didn't have classes today and came there to feel some comfort and crash in her bed. Only she finds that her room has been turned by Joyce into a storage facility for her gallery supplies and artworks. She's like, hey,
like, damn, like, Joyce.
Hey, while you're here, before you get in that bed that you got to try to fit into, can you go over there with your little finger strength and just pop open all them box tops for me real quick? You know, as one does.
I put them in your room just for you.
She's like, don't go in those. Those are my weed deliveries. She's like, those are my edibles.
She's like, that one box over there is for Giles.
Literally, though, it's got the tribal masks. She packed Pat up in one of
and
the
boxes. Weed.
Yes. Well, Buffy can't even fit in here, as we said, and it doesn't feel like it's even her room anymore. So that option seems to be out. Speaking of out, she decides to head out, answering the ringing phone on her leave, but no one seems to be there. Curious. I guess we'll see. She makes it back to her dorm, finding the door open and her side of the room stripped completely naked. A note on her bed reading, "This is all too much for me. I have decided to take off. Sorry I didn't have time to say goodbye, but I need to be by myself. Good luck this year, Buffy." Because I want Moloch to be here. And then I wrote, these vamps unjacked all her fucking shit. Like, damn, like she ain't even dead like fucking Eddie is. They still went and took all her shit, knowing damn well that she's gonna come back to her room and find all her shit gone. It's kind of funny. It's fucked up, but it's kind of funny. Like, they just fucking with her at this point. I'm like dead. Not the way that they're dead though. Or Eddie. Buffy sits on her bed taking this in before we find her later that night arriving at the Bronze as Splendid performs their song You and Me. Note that everybody loves when I put the fucking titles of songs and the artists in here, because they'd be like, I didn't know that was the name of the song, and I went and looked it up and put it on my playlist just to throw that out there. So that's why I always make sure to shout these out. Her one last hope for connection to any resemblance of her old life, which is what the Bronze represents. She's like, I'll return here because this has got to feel familiar, right? No. One that has her meeting Angel in here, like we would think, because she glances over and sees Angel sitting over there, and we're like, oh shit, like Angel's up in here. No, because somebody passes by and then we see it's actually a guy that she was hallucinating is Angel. Fun fact, that really obviously was David Boreanaz in a quick little cameo in the actual episode, so that way they could have this little switch out moment. But it's sucky. Like the song that's even playing too, the girls like consistently saying you and me, like it's a sad sulky ass fucking you're down in the fucking dumps type music. I'm like, Buffy, you came to the Bronze on the wrong night. You need to come on like Hype Night when Dingo's Ate My Baby was playing or some shit, like when Oz's band is there and Willow might be attending, like, you know what I mean? Just like interesting. But I love how she goes back to the Bronze, but I also like how it unfolds at the Bronze, because Xander also has arrived back from his trip and, you know, talks about how it didn't go as planned. And she's super excited to see Xander because, you know, no one knew that he was back. And I like it because Xander didn't really have anywhere to go because he's not a part of college life. So he decided to go to the Bronze as well because he had nothing else to do. So it kind of puts Buffy and Xander in this interesting category together, which is interesting how they team up at first before they get the full crew back together, you know? Yeah. We do find out though that his car broke down when he made it to like a couple of states or a couple of towns over. I don't know where Oxnard is, but I guess that's somewhere else in California, because he plays it off to say like he didn't really get very far before it happened. And then he ended up having to work at some like fucking, what did he say, like a strip club or like some kind of bar or some shit like that, or gentleman's nightclub or something. Yeah. And he's like, I had to do that to like make the money for like to repair my engine and shit like that. And then he talks about how he finally made it back home, and now he's kicked into the basement to live, and it's for a price by his parents. Like, this whole motherfucker's got to pay rent. They said you can't live here unless you're paying money now because you're a fucking deadbeat child, essentially. Like, once again, just lets you know how shitty Xander's fucking home life is, but also pretty fair and valid, because some parents have that mentality, and once you're 18, all these other kids are going off to college and they're growing up, you got to get the fuck out of here. Like, yeah, or get down in the basement. Like, how fucked that he's living in the basement. Like, I mean, it sounds cool, but it's not. Just to say that, because I would live in a basement. Like, I basically live in the attic of my house. Like, not really, but basically,
it's not the same vibe.
It's not the same vibe. I am gonna need to know though what the story about the male strippers was, because he's like, nothing on this earth will make me tell you the rest of that story. And then
we can only imagine.
Buffy all brings it up later, and he's like, no power on this earth, and she's like, all right, I'll get over it. Buffy tells him about her college life being a shit show because he asks, and how Willow and Oz are doing great. He wonders why she's here alone and upset looking, and she mentions how Sunday the vampire took her down and she feels defeated. Xander is very quick to call Avengers to assemble, but Buffy doesn't want to burden them with this life anymore. She doesn't feel like she can cut it anymore either, you know, life in general. And Xander breaks down some of our themes and metaphor on fear and control and gives Buffy a speech that he messes up several times because he can't get his fucking footing. But he saves the day with the fact that when he feels fear or when he thinks that he's in trouble, he always thinks, what would Buffy do to make it out of the situation? After he's done imagining, you know, what Buffy's wearing as a first up, this is truly what he feels. Because I like how he doubles down. Like, he's got to be his natural Xander stuff. He's like, you know, okay, well, most of the time of night, and I'm laying in a dark, quiet place, I'm thinking about Buffy being naked. I'm like, Xander, calm down. And I love how Buffy doubles down. She's like, this be one of those other things you don't ever tell me about, like the ladies' nightclub thing that happens. Yes, exactly. But then he also goes on to tell her that she's his hero, and he often wears a bracelet that has the letters WWBD on it because, you know, like like Buffy, he forgot to answer the call of acceptance from Jesus Christ and wound up with that bracelet instead of WWJD. You know, calling back to earlier, because Buffy clearly didn't accept Christ into her heart because she forgot.
She got busy.
This moment is so cute, though. It's right up there in the top Xander moments for me, and honestly, like, so far in the series, like the fact that he gives basically her some of her power back with this little mini speech saying that, like, when I'm scared or feared or alone, I always think about, what are you going to do in this situation? How can I empower myself through Buffy's wisdom and stuff like that? Like, it makes her not only feel connected to one of her friends again, but like I said, it kind of builds her power back up and reminds her of who she is. This also kind of calls back to that Anne statement whenever she's like, I'm Buffy the Vampire Slayer and you are, whenever the demon's trying to like bat her down and she's just having a shit show in life. She has to kind of reclaim her power again. And this is the first little messaging of this happening in this episode. But I really like how it's delivered from supposedly her metaphorical heart in the series as well. It's just a really beautiful scene overall.
I agree. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier when we first started the episode, is that it was shocking to see her gain her confidence back and gain her footing again because of Xander's return, you know, and Xander being just, I think, a place of comfort and the only one who's kind of dealing semi with the same sort of emotions that she's sorting through, and life is not going as great as anticipated, and they can both relate to that. And so I think that having him be the one was shocking to me, because you almost forget about Xander. You know, you assume he's like still traveling the country or whatever.
He's a slacker.
So yeah, it was shocking just to see Xander, but also that this was kind of the turning point of the whole entire episode, where she shifts into the Buffy we all know and expect her to be most times. So he saved the day in a way.
Honestly, yeah.
Xander's the hero this episode.
Literally, though. All right, well, she feels empowered by his words, as we are saying, and the two head off to track down where the vamps are so she can get her shit back and slay them, breaking into the school's records room to find out as such, obviously finding out where their address is and the fact that these vamps have been doing this routinely since 1982. Over at the bando, they peep in through the roof ceiling as Buffy takes in that they are teasing her clothes. She's like, you're never going to fit in that skirt. And I'm like, that bitch probably would not want to wear that skirt, Buffy. I'm super sorry. And I love how they're like passing all of her different shit around the room. And like they find Mr. Gordo. And Buffy is like, Mr. Gordo? Like, no, like not my fucking prize damn pig. But I want to say they flawed right here very hardcore. It's like the birthday thing from the Moloch episode 2 with them putting the wrong dates all up in the computer for that, like, the years that Buffy was born. They're throwing around a fucking cow. It's a pig that her little Mr. Gordo is. It's not a fucking cow.
That's all they had on set that day.
Clearly, I don't know what was going on with that. They did not, like, the continuity was not there. And she also gasped at the fact that they are like score because they found her fucking diary. Like, I'm like, oh shit, that's so fucked. I was like, now I can hear them now. Like, Xander's about to dip to go find Willow and weapons and shit like that, and Buffy's just up there as they're reading her diary, and they're like, who the fuck's Angel? Like, what's she writing about? And then she's writing about like, this blonde bitch kicked my ass last night, blah blah blah.
My eye is swollen.
Giving them more ammunition. My fucking arms all broke up. Like, you poor bitch.
I should probably go to the doctor, but I'm not.
I'll heal. I have Slayer powers.
I'm good.
Sort of. Xander leaves her to go find her weapons trunk that she can't tell is in there or not, and says to check in with Willow if he doesn't find it. He hurries off as she talks to herself about how they're going to play this game her way now, and how the rules are just going to be a little bit different. Nope, they are not, because Buffy's weight gives way to the glass, and that she's leaning on, and she falls right into the fucking room from above like she's fucking Batman or some shit, landing in the middle of these vampires, totally eating her previous statement. Like, this is just like the final fucking straw. It's like the literal metaphor of like breaking the camel's back, or like the being on thin ice, or like whatever you want to call it. Like, this is the last thing Buffy needed for this fucking glass. But like, why is her whole body up on the whole fucking glass? She's not leaning over it looking in. She just decided to lay on it. She said, I'm gonna sunbathe here.
She said, I'm gonna urbex.
Literally, that's how you get into urbex places.
That's how I get into bandos. I just drop through the ceiling.
You like how I said urbex places? Like, what the fuck was that? Like, bandos. I corrected it really quickly as you were saying it. Well, Sunday, of course, is already on her bullshit.
Say, don't I know you from beating the crap out of you? I just thought I'd drop in. Get it? Drop in. Boy, tough room.
Buffy, this is not the time for fucking jokes at all. Sunday taunts her some more, but this time being more about mocking, sarcastically, wondering, how will I ever get out of this with the Slayer here, like showing up and blah blah blah, like you've got a broken arm, no weapons, like however am I going to get out of this situation? I'm like, okay bitch, we get it, like you're in a power trip right now, you're clearly like dealing with
You're
this
a bully.
put down fucking vampire Slayer, like she's just that person that like just wants to fucking piss you off more when you're already fucking pissed off. Like I'm just like, okay, calm down, Sunday.
She's a button pusher for sure.
Buffy attempts to banter some statistics about mistakes, but gets another punch from Sunday, sending us over to Willow and Oz with Kathy in the dorm, going over their confusion about the note left behind. Willow and Oz got to be like, what the fuck's going on right now? Like, what is happening? I mean, we get to see a little bit of this distress, but just like the initial leading up to before we got in the room with them, like I'm sure they were like getting the call from Kathy and being like, hey, so I know your friend like with this girl, like all her shit's gone and she says she left, like can you guys come over here? Or like they went there looking for Buffy and then they found this. Like I don't really know how this all played out. Regardless, they found out. And I love how Kathy is like really overwhelmed by Buffy's clear history of emotional problems. She's like, I asked for a stable non-Camel Crush smoker. And how that very much does not like fit what her like request form said in general. Willow almost buys into this, but thankfully, Xander comes in to fill in the blanks about their friends who sleep all day and have no tans are playing a prank on Buffy and how she needs them to help get all her stuff back. Also that he's back, because he gives a hug to Willow, a very intrusive hug to Kathy. Then he realizes that they don't know each other and he's like, this is awkward, isn't it? She's like, very much so. He's like, all right, great. He looks over at Oz. He's like, do we hug? And he's like, no, I don't think we partake in all that. Either way, he checks for the weapons chest and sees it's not there. And then they move to Willow's to get her weapons as well. Him noting that they have some time because Buffy's just in a holding pattern. But not, because we find Buffy's being kicked down to the floor by Sunday again, and she's dragging herself towards her weapons trunk that thankfully she spotted. Almost over to it, Sunday cuts her off, expressing that this little token, this little class protector umbrella that she's holding is her favorite item among Buffy's things that she's found. Buffy snarks that she doesn't want to be touching that, and Sunday drops it to the floor. She's like, okay, I'll drop it, and then stomps the motherfucker in half. And we all collectively gasp.
Yeah. And say bitch.
Okay, like I would say instead of gasp, I fucking shriek every time, especially the first time I watched this. Like, can you imagine how much I talked about like when we watched the episode This Day and Time, and I'm like, I just love this moment so much for Buffy. I've got 3 things that have the Class Protector Award on it. Like, I love this thing so much. I gotta make me one day, blah, blah, blah. And then this bitch stomps it in the ground. I'm like, no! What did you just do? Like, that's a solid fucking moment though, because like we know what that umbrella not only just means to me, but what it means to Buffy and what it represents and stands for. Like, even your face when it happened, you were like, oh fuck. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, it's all of us in that moment. And when she stomps on it symbolically, it's very clever because then that forces Buffy to shift into this new part of her life, I feel like. And this is where she reclaims herself. She's like, okay, well, that chapter of my life is clearly over. Now I've really got to embrace this new one or else I'm going to fucking die right here, Fun for metaphor. But Sunday grabs her arm, twisting it back as Buffy wails out in pain, suggesting that this arm doesn't look so good and it might need to get ripped off. Buffy retorting, the truth being she only needs one, sending her other arm to punch Sunday away from her. And we're like, yes, bitch, get it. Rolling back up to her feet and laying a handful of quick moves into Sunday, sending her sailing into the coffee table, knocking her back with its debris. I love it because she flips her over the fucking coffee table, breaks it, fucking sticks her foot in the rubble and kicks the fucking rubble up at Sunday. Like, Sunday was not expecting for Buffy to come full force like this. She's like, okay, maybe you don't fight like a girl anymore. Like, and I also wrote my notes. I was like, what is it with Buffy breaking coffee tables? Because we remember how they treated Angel's place when she was fighting with Kendra and what happened with that. We saw what she did during the bite sex last season with Angel when she kicked the fucking table when he took her last little drop of blood. Like, Buffy's got a problem with coffee tables at this point, I'm assuming. Like,
it might be subconscious, but yeah.
They hate to see her coming.
They really do.
But like, I loved how fast Buffy came in with her attacks. Like, she just sweeps the fucking room with Sunday like she's a damn mop or some shit. I was like, that umbrella pissed that bitch the fuck off. Set her off. The surfer lackey comments, "This is starting to suck," as the other female vampire lunges at Buffy, but meets a racket to the head because, Buffy's like, "Ooh, cute wall decor. I'm going to beat y'all up with it." Buffy kicks Sunday back down, taking her on again. Two of the boy vamps attempt to leave, but then they're met with Oz, Willow, and Xander entering the door, fending them off and backwards with crosses. I like how they were basically about to dip on Sunday. They're like, "We're getting the fuck out of here. We're leaving this bitch behind." Like, so quick. But honestly, like, if you had been nicer to these lackeys, they probably would have stuck around and helped you fight.
100%.
Like,
yeah.
Well, we get the 2K per slay of surfer fucking stoner vamp by Willow and a funny "whoa" as he fades to dust. Buffy bantering to Sunday on the ground about how when she looks back on all of this in the 3 seconds that it takes her to turn to dust, Buffy hopes Sunday will realize her biggest mistake was touching her stuff, amongst other things. But Buffy gets to really take out her aggressions from this episode right here. The other girl vampire flees from the scene as Sunday gets up to take on Buffy, grabbing her arm and twisting it some more, making it like the arm itself is making some pretty nasty like cracks and like splinchy noises. And we're like, okay, that arm really is about to come off. And she narrates like, "What about your broken arm?
How does that feel? Let me answer that question with a headbutt."
And butts her in the fucking head. Like, it's so fun. Like, Buffy's got her quit back, her banter's there. We feel like she's more herself again. Oz and Xander finish taking on their vamp and slay him off screen when Buffy calls out to Sunday as she balls up her fist of her injured arm, retorting, "And for the record,
the arm is hurt. It's not broken."
She punches Sunday with it back across the room as the remaining lackey vampire flees, the gang asking Buffy if she needs a hand. "No thanks," she replies, with a spin of that racket space she fashioned into a stake, tossing it behind her across the room without even looking, it landing in Sunday's chest, adding, "I'm good," as she turns to go collect her broken umbrella off the ground, passing by what I would say is a displeased Sunday's body dropping to the floor into dust. And we officially get the final 2K per slay in the freshman. I love her fucking death scene too, because she just like the stakes in her and she's like, I don't know, it's the way she like pats her body down and then puts her hands on her hips like she's just dissatisfied as fuck. She's like, well, fuck. Like, it reads so well.
Reality set in real quick.
In that 3 seconds. I wonder if she really thought back in the 3 seconds that it took her to turn to dust all the shit that she had done. So, fair. Buffy was correct. They leave carrying Buffy's things as Giles comes running up with various weapons to them, I guess knowing exactly where they'd be. Like, they didn't tell him, so I don't know if they called him on the way and let him know where they were going to be or what was going on. But he voices how he feels awful about how he spoke to her at his home and how he wants to be there with her in the fight again. She is pleased with this decision, and he follows off after them, not to fight evil, but to help Buffy carry all her shit back to her room. Because he's like, the evil is this way? And she's like, no, my dorm is. Like, I love how Willow's like looking over the box because she's carrying cheese. She's like, Giles, can you get the top box? And this motherfucker's got like 8 weapons in his hands. His arms is full. He can't carry no damn box. I'm like, oh my god. Buffy got her broken umbrella in hers. I'm like, ugh.
He was reminding me of when Joyce tried to like go with Buffy when she was slaying, and she's like micromanaging the situation, and that's a Giles. So that's like the energy he arrived with.
Yeah. Xander ponders if Buffy still thinks college is scary, and Buffy smiles, offering that it's actually starting to feel a little like high school, which means it can't be that bad, and she can handle that, and will know what to expect. Except we have an unexpected arrival in our final scene, showing that vampire lackey running around campus as if the Slayer's still on his tail. We see him shot with an electric shock, being tased to the ground, military men dressed in fatigues and masked with guns flanking him, closing in as the vampire lays there stunned in fear. We fade to black, and here endeth the episode. So I gotta say, even though we didn't make any cracks the whole time, literally when these guys come up, Courtney goes, oh, look, it's ice.
I'm so sorry.
It was so funny, but it was like between that.
But it was just, I deal with things through humor. So this is
it was obviously there's some light heart to those types of situations and stuff, because it basically was 100% them, because they're attacking some random person. It was really
giving that energy though. It was just like, okay, here's a random person, a random probably American citizen minding their own biz.
Listen though, of course they clearly knew what they were after, but I will say that this can't be ice, because clearly they were actually after a bad guy. So there's that.
That's true.
Momentary
But
random like act of silence for those lost.
But it also just is a display of how fucked up our minds are now, that we can't even see like any group of people dressed a certain way bum rush into a situation without it giving the energy of ice. So
Awful.
that's sad.
Well, apart from this looking like ice, what do you think, kind of almost as a Slayer Rep prediction preemptively, what do you think is going on with this whole like energy that we get left off on a cliffhanger with?
I mean, I have no idea. Like, are they doing like an experiment or research purposes, or like I don't know. I have no idea.
Who knows? I mean,
I don't know the advantage to
that's
that.
a very
Like,
nice guess, I would say, like for somebody that doesn't know anything about the show, you know, like because it's military, they're like clearly tasing a vampire. They didn't immediately stake it and kill it. Like, what are they going to do with it?
If I'm gonna go with like the normal thing, or maybe this is just me coming off of Stranger Things, but usually when these things happen, it's for a benefit to the military. So it's almost like they try to find these like people or things, whatever you want to go with, that have an ability to do something normal people don't, and then later like weaponize them and use them as weapons or something. Or maybe they are doing experiments to see like, can we do this to ourselves and live forever? Or who the fuck knows? There's so many advantages to doing what they're doing. So especially if they're actually like researching the situation. So
well, we will see.
I'll see.
Obviously. Yes. Yeah, because I don't know anything that goes on.
Never.
What I do know about is the themes and metaphor of this episode, though. So the freshman is really about what happens when the things that once grounded you suddenly fall away. Buffy has always known who she was and where she fit in, but college disrupts that almost immediately. She isn't special here and she isn't seen, and the confidence that carried her through high school doesn't work the same way in this new space. The vampires reflect that fear. Sunday isn't stronger because she's better. She's stronger because she's already adapted. She understands the rules of this world of college life while Buffy is still trying to figure out her footing. It's that unsettling realization that past success doesn't guarantee confidence in the next phase of your life, and the episode speaks to rebuilding identity. And we recognize Buffy doesn't lose her power, she loses her sense of stability and feeds into insecurity. Mark Field's ties to the themes in Of Human Bondage, the security blanket of Eddie, and how the challenge for Buffy to overcome in the freshman is that her insecurity about college has left her feeling insecure in her identity as the Slayer. What helps her regain it is her connection to herself, being reminded that needing guidance doesn't mean failure, and that she can exist here just as much as if she reframes her way of thinking and adapts to this new life. More than anything, the freshman sets the tone for season 4 by showing us that becoming an adult isn't about having answers. It's about learning how to recognize yourself again when everything feels unfamiliar. All right, some fun Buffy facts that we got going on. Buffy fun facts. The exterior shots of UC Sunnydale were filmed on the UCLA campus. I mentioned that when we were talking about Pedro Pascal stuff, but this is actually UCLA and not Sunnydale, but the College of fucking Los Angeles. Charisma Carpenter and David Boreanaz are no longer series regulars and were removed from the opening credits as they left to obviously star on the spinoff Angel, which we'll talk about next week. This is the first season premiere not to feature those two characters, though, as well as the first time in the series that an actor is removed from the opening credits. Oz says it's a madhouse at Madhouse to Buffy and Willow on the first day of college, quoting the 1968 film Planet of the Apes. I thought it was interesting that he says that because he says it more calmly when he says it's madhouse at Madhouse. But in the first episode of season 2, which was our opener, Xander and Willow are playing that game when they're walking down before they get attacked and Buffy fights the vampire off for them. And they're playing like lines or quotes from movies that they're supposed to guess. And he says,
okay, I got one. It's a madhouse.
Planet of the Apes.
Can I finish, please?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
House.
Planet of the Apes.
It's a callback that you might not remember, but I know everybody else will recognize it. That was before he swiped the ice cream on her nose and wanted to lick it off and all that kind of shit. I know you remember that stuff because Willow. That's why Willow loves ice cream so much. Xander quotes "Avengers Assemble" in reference, obviously, to the fictional superhero team, which is interesting because obviously Joss Whedon would write and direct the 2012 film The Avengers and its 2015 sequel Age of Ultron. We had one deleted scene. This line where Sunday is dissing Buffy's umbrella was cut. She was supposed to say, "What better way to say I am the very most of geek?" I was like, no, we did not delete that in there because she was already kicking Buffy down. Like, she's go ahead and call Buffy a geek because of this damn umbrella. Buffy would have staked her right there with the umbrella. So, and this is the last fun fact, but this is like possibly the coolest one. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 4, the character Sunday was originally intended to be what they call a slaypire, a former slayer turned vampire, serving as a major antagonist or big bad to the season. Obviously, that's why she technically beats Buffy down, why she like leaves bruises on her, because technically she was supposed to be a slayer that had gotten killed and turned into a vampire. So that's where the term slaypire comes from. But the writers confirmed that this was the plan, and they aimed to explain like her superior strength in that way. But obviously, they scrapped the idea, and she was killed earlier. And the reason it changed was because they abandoned that idea because it seemed like it was a little too familiar to what they did with Faith last season with the rogue/evil slayer vibe. So they didn't want to kind of have a repeat of energy going into this season as a bigger foe for Buffy, because this was supposed to be a recurring character. I wouldn't say like big bad is like the full spectrum problem Buffy was dealing with for the season, but she might have appeared more often than we thought that she would have.
I see.
Most people really get excited about that. I'm glad they killed her off in the first episode, that wasn't a thing. I mean, maybe if she had been in a few episodes and that had been a storyline, that could have been cool. But like I said, coming off of Faith, I kind of agree with that like mindset.
Yeah, I feel like at most trickling her over into like the second episode and killing her like early on. But no, I'm glad we don't have to worry about her.
Well.
Sunday ain't gonna see Monday, that's for sure.
And that's one of the clips that's got to go into my Instagram post. All right, now we can get into our final slays.
Final slays,
first of season 4, the freshman. The freshman. Whoa. I like that one. What do you got for quotes this episode?
Oh, I'll put my notes away like we were done or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while.
Yes.
Clearly.
Okay. So my first one comes from Buffy when she's like, "I'm trying to cut way back talking about porn." And then Sunday has a quote from me, which is, "The fact that you're fat makes you look fat," just because that summarizes her whole entire bully ass personality. And then my last one is Xander about the vamps, and when he said, "Our friends who sleep all day and have no tans."
That's such a fun way to describe a vampire, like low-key.
Especially when you're trying to like be discreet
Coded,
and not
yeah.
like talk about vampires in front of people that would not get what the fuck you're saying.
That was my final one in my quotes. But my other ones, I really like Buffy being fucking corny as fuck. And she's like, "I just thought I'd drop in. Get it? Drop in." I'm like, again, Buffy, this is not the time. Like, clearly just because I love the fucking do accept Jesus Christ thing. And then she's like, "Oh, I meant to, but then I got busy." Like, that was so me in like my younger years. I like in the opening college sequence after Buffy talks about getting her student ID, and Willow's like, "Oh, the lines are really long now. You should have went earlier." And then Oz meets up with them, and she's like, "Oh, it's my on-campus boyfriend." And Buffy all plays off that comment. She's like, "Oh no, I forgot to pick mine up." The line's probably really long for that now too. Like, I was like, I like how quickly she called back to that, like that had happened 2 minutes ago. I was like, that was so us, but also very Buffy. I like Willow being like, "Buffy wouldn't just take off. That's not in her nature, except that one time that she took off for several months and changed her name, but there were circumstances there." Like, of course we have to call back to Anne, and they like physically actually call back to Anne in this episode. So
yeah,
I love a good callback to Anne. Hey, Courtney,
we love it.
Can I be Anne? This is like, all right. Shot and Slayer, who'd you give it to this episode?
Xander.
I wrote Buffy initially, but then you said Xander earlier, and I was like, oh, I guess he did kind of like save the day for Buffy's mindset, so I'm gonna have to put him in there too. So.
Basically, I had a hard time with that too, so what I actually wrote down was I had a hard time choosing between Xander and Buffy, so the way I'm going to put it is that the Shining Slayer goes to Xander's return, motivating our Shining Slayer's return.
There you go. Okay.
So it feeds into each other, but without Xander we wouldn't be here, so ultimately I think it goes to him.
Weekly Wiggins, I chose Sunday being a total fucking bitch. like we've seen some nasty fucking vampires, but you can only imagine what kind of person that she was before she became a vampire. So basically her character from She's All That essentially is who she was still. So like it makes sense.
We already know.
I was like, clearly like she was a Savannah, and then she changed her name to Sunday when she moved to Sunnydale after becoming a vampire. That's what happened.
She said that part of the town's name had to be in her name.
Sunnydale. That's what world she was living in. Did you come down on the same Wiggins? Or did you have something else?
Yeah, I put all of Sunday.
Oh.
That's what I put. Her whole existence.
How funny though, and I forgot to like really point this out like in a way too. How ironic is the fact that a vampire's name is Sunday. Like she can't even like be in the sun, but her name is Sunday. Like I wonder if that was her name before she became a vampire. If she chose it out of dramatic irony. I wouldn't be surprised.
Her name was Monday before, and then she was like, you know what? We're gonna go back to last week and make it Sunday.
Okay, got it. That Slade moment for you.
Buffy kicking absolute ass at the end and doing what we're used to and what we expect out of her.
Absolutely. Mine was just simply her tossing that steak into Sunday without looking, because that's that Slade moment. She just tossed that shit behind her. I'm like, okay, gotcha. All right, Slayer predictions. This is fun too. It'll have passed by the time we get there, but obviously we're doing our little Instagram live watch video for this episode. So to say it now and then to say it again once we're there, hope everybody tuned in to watch it and had fun watching us watch that. All the watching. But the next episode, which I'm assuming you know because I posted it today, but it is entitled Living Conditions.
Ooh.
Did you see the post that I made?
I didn't.
Okay, good.
I'm going to look at it
now.
Okay.
Well,
that's good.
That'll be fun. It'll be a breadcrumb for you.
Then I actually didn't know in advance, so at least there's that much, and it was an actual predict. Living conditions could be, oh god, that could go in any which way. Is this it? Oh no, living conditions. Yes, it is. Look at Kathy. I can't deal with Kathy there. So I guess living conditions, obviously something to do again with like mirroring the space that we're in college. I don't know if it's specific to like the roommate situation, since you put a picture of Kathy here. Is that a breadcrumb? Okay. So yeah, maybe Kathy's crazy. It's crazy Kathy.
Yeah, it's like an element of the episode we deal with. Obviously we have like a monster of the week going on too and stuff like that, but I think it's like now that we've been dealing with Buffy in this episode, just to kind of breadcrumb you further, we've been dealing with her struggles in this way, shape, or form, and now we kind of get to see how her living struggle is going to be like with a person that clearly is we already found Kathy to be annoying, so how is Buffy's like life as a Slayer gonna like be compromised by the fact, like, will Kathy find out next episode that she's a Slayer? Is that a problem? Like, what unfolds because of this? Is she just frustrated with Kathy? Do they become best friends? Like, you never know. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. But then I'm on it then. Okay.
I got you. I'm super excited to watch it with you live. That's going to be so fucking funny.
Yay.
All right. Well, everyone, that's it. That's it. There's no more of the freshmen.
We're done.
Thanks for joining us for the start of the new season of Revamped. Obviously, like I said, that concludes our coverage of the freshmen. Let us know how you feel about the start to college years and how Buffy navigates finding herself again in this new atmosphere. Did you like our classic vampiric threat this one and then being led by Sunday? What do you think of her? Do you like the slew of new characters that were introduced to us already in the season start? Write in and give us all your thoughts and tell us what you love about this episode and season 4 of Buffy. Would love to hear it. I would, because Courtney can't hear about it because, spoilers. We will clearly be back next week with our coverage and start to Angel season 1 as we tackle Angel episode 1, City of, and then we'll return the following week with our coverage of episode 2 of Buffy for Living Conditions. We'll catch you all back here next time, and until that time comes, you guys watch out for vampires in the shadows that might nab you up. You still killing me about that Sunday need to go back to Monday kind of bullshit. Sunday ain't gonna see Monday.
Buffy, I've gone through some fairly dark times in my life. Faced some scary things. Among them, the kitchen at the Fabulous Ladies nightclub. Let me tell you something. when it's dark and I'm all alone and I'm scared or freaked out or whatever, I always think, what would Buffy do? You're my hero. Okay, sometimes when it's dark and I'm all alone, I think, what is Buffy wearing?
That'd be one of those things you never ever tell me about.
It's a deal. Let's put this bitch in the ground. What are you saying?
I say thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Buffy on Revamped. Remember to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue our journey through Sunnydale along with our Scoobies. We would love to hear from you, so share your thoughts. Discuss with us your perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com.
And if you're interested in A World Left Behind, check out my show, Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast where I uncover the hidden mysteries of forgotten places, interview other explorers, and share with you my tips and tricks of the trade. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time,
the Earth is definitely doomed.
This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.